The Dark Realm is a difficult place to live. Plants grow weakly and twisted in the lack of sunlight. Mercenary work and banditry are rife, as it pays more than basic farming or hunting. The realm at large is ruled over from the great city of Guardia, an overpopulated, sinful place ruled over by a baleful king that we haven't seen in years. There is an elven kingdom to the south, ruled by the sequestered shadow elves, a dwarven kingdom lost to the mountains of the west, and a tiefling kingdom among the volcanic rock of the islands in the north. Great patches of our land are poisoned and deserted. There are tribal villages, beasts, goblins, and orc warbands, of course, but we're trapped here. The mists are a mystery. Most who enter them never return. Those that do are changed in such a way that they are unrecognizable or utterly insane. Nothing comes out of the mist, but it surrounds us, calls out, poisons, frightens. Couple that with the almost endless darkness, and the Dark Realm is a very difficult place to live.
There!
Stay here, Shell. I think there's one left.
I go. Vane, stay.
No. Something... It's the voice, Sheldi. You ought to stay here. Protect these... Right there, Sheldi.
Something not smell right. Vane! Vane! It happened again? Jome? No, you not him. He was last to try. So you are a new one. Ha! We are always reborn. You, Vane? Me, Sheldi. Am destined to stay. Remain here. Until mist get rid of. Until it's all over. My life, like Big Gnome there, bound to a shadow wish, must bring us back again and again, to protect you. We go when Mist let us go. It never let me go. Not ever. Careful what you wish for. Eldar Frigga say to Kor Sheldi, but I never tell Vane this. Big mistake. Ha! You, new light. I see it. Inside you. But you no see it. No more bargains with mist. Use your light, not darkness of mist. You take meaning. You rest now. Kor Sheldi hope we never meet again. Oh. And no touch these bones. His trap is always trap.
After Will place a hand to the stone above the bones of Vane Wolfchild, you see Kor Sheldi materialize for a moment and then immediately begin to kind of fade away before your eyes. She delivers the words that you just heard and vanishes. In the place where you and her touched this rock, there is now a second handprint, blood red, sitting on top of this rock. Below you, the bones of this person you know to be Vane Wolfchild. And really, that's about it in this place. As this part memory and part kind of shadow wraith that is bound to this area dissipates, all four of you would have seen and heard the words that she spoke to Will. The other shadows disappeared after kind of being absorbed into Kor Sheldi. And you find yourselves once again in this set of mines, this old abandoned, dusty mine shaft here. Lots of it kind of fallen in on itself. The creaking wood that's holding these mine shafts up above you. Holes and broken bits of wall. Dust filtering down from above. What do you guys do next?
I think I'd probably slowly turn around, kind of in a bit of a state of shock for a sec. And then look back to the rest of the party and say, it's over. At least here. That's not what I expected.
What were you expecting?
I was expecting the same thing that happened.
You're
Or
not
I was
gonna...
expecting the same thing that happened when we caught up with Eldarin. When his ghost spoke to us, thought perhaps Vane might have something similar to say.
Did we touch the bones there?
I did, yes. I believe I did.
I don't think you touched the bones. You touched the handprint above the bones. I remember you explicitly telling me that you touched the bones, and I say that because I think I would remember you had said it.
Before I touched the before I touched the handprint, before the whole fight started, I believe what triggered the fight was me putting my hand on the skeleton itself and taking a second, like a moment of silence. If I'm not mistaken. I think I did that first.
One of us is, and it's probably... in my head, as you reached out, it triggered Kor Sheldi behind you, so I don't know if you actually did touch them.
So she jumped out and interrupted before I did, basically?
Pretty much. That's the activation. She's a protection ghost, demon, shadow, wraith, spirit.
Gotcha. Well, in that case,
I'll say that you maybe didn't, because I would imagine that as you went to reach out, or as you, I think you said you were going to kneel or something in front of them, because it's been 2 weeks for us. I'll say that you didn't.
Okay. Well, she also just very explicitly and directly told us not to touch him, and it's a trap. So I'm probably gonna pass on that, unless Merlin wants to like detect magic and see what's going on here. But otherwise, I'll not mess with it.
Might not be a bad idea. I will then use detect magic.
Okay. First you can do that, but roll me. You detect magic on a daily thing, do you? Am I remembering that, or do you have it on a spell slot?
I do believe I have it on a spell slot.
Should also have it as a ritual if we want to just hang out for 10 minutes.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. That's actually important. Do
I
you
got
want to
it
do
in
the
spell
ritual, or
slot.
do you want to do it instantly?
Oh. Instantly?
Okay. Well, it takes a spell slot. And yeah, you do that. Roll me an Arcana check, please. 23. So, you will get some extra stuff here.
Ooh.
The first... Okay. There is a lot of weird magical things happening in this area. And this is about 30 feet around, but I guess it doesn't matter too much. First of all, I think the most powerful school of magic that hits you from this is the School of Necromancy. It is a side as well. This is, again, every time you cast Detect Magic, you get all of the enchantments and spells that are currently on your equipment and all the things that's going on with you, the strange kind of sense of magic that comes from Fix, the strange ping of magic that comes from you. You are now a necromancy void combo creature. You get another sense, and almost however it is that Merlin interprets this exact kind of sense of the same school of necromancy void blend from the dissipating energy that was Kor Sheldi, this spirit thing that was there before. She's a shadow spirit, I guess, is what you would probably, if you wanted to identify it as anything. But it is exactly the same thing as you. Also on a 23, you understand that actually that basically is what will happen to you as well. You kind of can't die. While your physical body will rot and deteriorate over time, and depending on how well you keep up with the certain like dailies that keep that your body fresh and quote unquote alive, you will eventually become kind of basically that thing that happened there. This spirit that is born of a wish from the mist. The same way that essentially fire wished that you didn't die or that you would come back. The same thing happened here. This person, somebody else, presumably this vain person, did the same thing. And she came back as an undead creature. When he died, she stopped. She stopped, is the first thing. Her body stopped, but her spirit remained here. The last thing that he asked her to do was protect, and so that was the enchantment. There was a thing born here where she is now part attached to him, part attached to the mist, part attached to this wish, which was that she doesn't die, and that she remains. And while she doesn't exist in the same way that you do currently here right now, every now and then she is brought back. She essentially just then was reborn and killed again. But that will happen forever. It is partially the mist, partially the void. And the mist is partially the void, and you kind of understand this already. But essentially this void magic is so powerful, it's just keeping her here, bound to this spell, and bound to this promise, and bound to this abjuration, which is the second school of magic that comes through for you. Abjuration, which is mostly like shields and protection spells and things like that. There's just a huge amount of it that seems to be linked and attached to these bones and the handprints, which I think stand out for you quite heavily, and that lingering essence of this being. The bones, the abjuration magic on the bones seem to be linked with two schools of magic. Divination. There's a link that you can see or smell or understand or feel in some way between those bones on the ground and will, which is essentially divination. While I think last time we played, you were kind of blocked off somewhat from that will, or you interpret it as being blocked off from the connection that you had with your previous incarnations and selves here. Merlin, you totally can tell, and there is an element of divination to it, and that same void magic, which is running through a lot of things going on here. Lastly, there is something that basically the school of magic that appears to be a form of a trap is a strong abjuration link with what would be transmutation. If you interact with these bones, it will do something. It will transmute it, and transmutation is essentially that you manipulate the physical properties of something. In a simple, a transmutation spell might be like shape water or polymorph. It could be way worse. It could literally just turn you into goop, and that's it. I don't think you know the spell. Let me double check with.
No, I don't know.
You just get the schools and stuff, right?
Yeah. I don't know that spell.
So you definitely get the sense that it will do some sort of powerful transmutation magic as an abjuration spell for you. Now, is there anything else? Because this is a particularly crazy place to be casting this spell, so I just want to double check.
Yeah,
you might have more coming through for you, but I think that is it. You certainly get a deeper understanding of precisely what is happening here with this being that you just witnessed, because you cast it instantly and they're still lingering somewhat. And the bones themselves are pretty much just bones, but there is certainly an abjuration and transmutation field over them. The handprints. The handprints also stand out to you as that would be that would be can you tell that? I wonder. On a 23. What it is the inverted form of the mist void magic, those handprints. It is still powerful void school of magic, this new school of magic that you've discovered, that is linked to this alternate plane that you've also been kind of learning about. There is a tower that you now know is nearby that is like a portal that allows you to cross into that plane, and that plane is just a plane of this insane energy that you can draw from to cast spells and change spells and enhance spells and things. But also you are fully aware, and have been for some time, that the mist is also just complete, like it's just a mixture of void magic and consciousness. The handprint is exactly the same thing, but I think treat it like black and white here. If the mist is black, the handprint magic is white, but it's still the same source. But you can tell that the only thing here, and I literally mean the only thing, including you yourselves, this area of the mines, the bones, the shadow creature of Kor Sheldi, even just lingering on the rocks and things, it's the only thing here that is not linked or is maybe repelling the mist itself are those handprints. It's like a polar opposite, like two opposite ends of a magnet trying to, or the same ends, the opposite ends, trying to repel each other. And I'll give you all that because it was a 23, and that was good. And I think that is also everything going on here. So yeah. Plus you kind of understand this stuff now. Will, since we're here, roll me your own kind of Arcana check, but it won't be an Arcana check. It is going to be for you. You are no longer making wisdom saving throws. You have leveled up in a different way. after that, and with your ability to access your memories. Yours is you know what? I think just a wisdom. Yeah, you can make me a wisdom save. Just make it a wisdom save because you're proficient. I'll allow it. I'll give you the proficiency to it. It's essentially like having a skill in wisdom. So that makes sense
13.
to me. 13. Okay. 13 is the worst one. It's the worst number. It's just like you don't really get everything, but you don't not get something.
It's the you were almost good enough roll.
Yeah, like you definitely get something. I think it's appropriate for where you are here. You seem to be locked off from certain abilities and certain understandings and stuff. What I'll give you is a sort of passive answer to a sort of passive question that you had earlier on with the others when you were talking about the fact that you were expecting like a response from Eldarin kinda, and you didn't really get that here. I think I will give you some kind of internal understanding that Eldarin felt like a different person to you when you encountered the previous set of handprints. Whereas here you have a complete full understanding that this was a different person to you. Absolutely. Vane was his own person with his own life and stuff. You have access to his memories and you seem to be reincarnating with it or as you with his whatever going on. But now that you have access to Eldarin, Vane, and Jomay's memories, and also you are struggling to differentiate between those memories and yourself, and that is causing a kind of current dissonance, which is going to potentially turn you quite literally insane as your mind splits 4 different ways. You no longer, I think, experience them as different people. So through their memories, you can draw different answers. However, what you also have is a much greater understanding of the consciousness of the mist and your relationship with it. They can't do it. You can flip into the mist consciousness. Mechanically, it's on a wisdom save, and I will give you literally all of this in a second. Outside of being in the mist. It's much harder to do when you're not in the mist, but you can literally just access it. If you ask it questions that are beyond your scope, essentially the questions that you've been asking it, it now just simply has a cost on you. You can ask a question, it will give you an answer, it will cost you 10 sanity to do so. Wishes can be granted by the mist, such as bring Merlin back. That will cost you 25 sanity per wish. That is...
Ouch!
And it is unrecoverable at this point.
Oh, snap.
Now, the reasoning is that you have unlocked all 3 sets of memories from Eldarin, Vane, and Jomay. So while you don't have like a perfect total recall situation here, you definitely... I think I've been treating this on your behalf as your brain quickly cherry-picking the most important stuff so that you don't go insane. Give you an idea of what's going on. And a lot of these wisdom saves have been that. Kor Sheldi says to you, no more bargains with the mist. Use your light, not the darkness of the mist. And I think when she does that, that is what gives you your understanding of the fact that bargaining with the mist itself is what's harming you. But it also gives you a much better understanding with it, but it also sets you apart from it, which is why now, bargaining with the mist, what it is essentially going literally against your nature to do so. So it's just irreversible harm to do so. But is also very useful and powerful.
Yeah, I got that impression. Basically, cast wish spell, but break my brain to do it. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Shadow wishes. And these are not always, perfect wishes. It's not like we're not talking, celestial wishes. We're talking, please don't let Merlin die. Technically, he's not dead, but sort of he is.
It's gonna be one of those sadistic genies that misinterprets the wish. Okay.
I think
All right.
it is somewhere in there.
Okay.
So, that's how that works. What you understand, so I'm going to give you just the stuff here as well. So when you're inside the mist, it is a wisdom save of a DC of 15 or higher. To do this to successfully join with the mist consciousness and flip into it. When you lose your body, your eyes roll up and you join into it. That is for everyone. That's how that works. Outside of the mist, only Will can do this. It is an 18 or higher, unless you are in Kol, Jairus, Dandelo, or Kuz. Outside of this, outside of the mist itself, you are still able to do this, and it's an 18 plus. But if you're in those spots, it's only a 15. Failure still will cost you 1d10 of sanity, which is recoverable. I don't think you know how this works for the others yet. But for you, that's how it sits. So I'm going to I will print screen that for you and chuck it into our thing as well. It's a slight and final, you'll be pleased to know, change.
Yes.
Apart for you. The others, obviously, it's still a little different, potentially.
Okay.
It's far more dangerous for them. I'll give you that much you do know. But they pretty much have the same kind of options as you. But that, I think, is probably all you can really pull from that. Let's end. There it is. So, the two of you come to a greater understanding. Will, for you, this is... It's not a manual check like Merlin is casting a spell. I think this is up to you to interpret, but you're kind of just like... At this point, you're like... It's like memories are straining through a coffee strainer. Dripping through. You're getting these kind of thoughts and feelings and memories and things like that. But there is definitely a subconscious thing holding it back, because you will just go insane and end the campaign. Because it's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous concept to try and, remember 4 full people's memories. And so you, however you get this information and some of these elements that are being unlocked in you, you now have a greater understanding of just generally kind of how your interaction with the mist is working. You're also starting to get this sense that you are the polar opposite of the mist itself. The mist is the yin, you're the yang. That's kind of what is happening here. You definitely start to understand and feel that repulsion, is that the correct word, from it. Merlin, however, you definitely get more of an academic understanding very quickly there. Everything I said to you, I think, is just a thing where you go, that's abjuration magic, that's necromancy, that's void magic. This is all being held together by the mist itself somehow, but we're not in the mist. That kind of thing. You definitely get all of those answers very quickly. I think Will, over the course of the fight maybe, and definitely while speaking with Kor Sheldi, you just get a greater understanding of what feels like yourself. A drip feed of what would feel like memories. Maybe like being hungover or something, or you kind of remember like weird drunken memories from the night before when someone jogs your memory, that kind of a thing, maybe something like that would be probably how you experience it. Again, totally up to you to interpret however you want. So, bombs. Lots of bombs coming in for you in the campaign, obviously, and if you have any more questions and things, I know I'm dropping lots of stuff, but a lot of the campaign has been questions up until this point, and you're starting to kind of crest that hill with your understanding of yourselves and of the mist and of the things that are powering the mist, such as the void magic that sits underneath it all. the magic dissipates for you, Merlin. The spell wears out, and you definitely get the sense that Kor Sheldi, this spirit, is gone. Like, it's almost as if they have been completely erased. There is no sense of them after a while, though you know it is totally possible for them to kind of regenerate almost. Yeah, like a revenant. It's a strong necromancy spell. And again, the question really that it came down to was that the bones, when touched or disturbed, will cast a very strong transmutation spell. So with all that in mind, over the course of about 30 seconds, what do you do next?
Well, first things first, I'm gonna relay everything to the rest of the party, because I'm not keeping all that tea to myself. No way, Jose. That, and I will greatly express no touchy on the bones, because they have inscriptions of, one nasty transmutation spell. So, Will, no touchy.
I heard you the first time. What? Sorry, what's the transmutation spell?
Well, I mean, to my understanding of it, well, I myself do not know how to cast it, but the spell, and, quite frankly, I don't know what this one will turn you into, but I would imagine something not pleasant.
So basically, it's to turn you into something trap. Is that what you're telling me?
Pretty much. It will manipulate, any physical properties. So, basically yourself.
Right, so my thinking here then is I don't touch it. That's my take. I think we're done here, though. We already know from what we learned before there's nothing else lit down deeper in this mine. The whole place was a trap.
And Kor Sheldi is pretty much a prisoner here. We didn't quite exactly, let's just say there's a possibility, and a likely possibility, of Kor Sheldi coming back.
Unless the mists allow it. So do you think we'd save her from this purgatory by getting rid of the mist?
Save is perhaps an optimistic term, but we can perhaps at least cut her loose from it and let her move on to the next life.
Has to be better than being tethered like this, right?
I agree. And I'm not gonna leave her here. We'll find some way to cut it loose. Whether it be whatever we find out in the ocean, or if I just have to find the center of the mist and grab it by the throat, I'm not leaving her down here.
Yeah.
But we can't fix that from here. We have to head east.
No. We may have to come back for Kor Sheldi.
Aye, we will.
What does she mean by
It's hard.
use your light? Is
It's
there a way
difficult.
you can utilize that meaningfully?
I feel like I already do. Every single time we fight.
Do you think you could communicate with it the same way you can in the mist?
I feel that last time I was in the mist, I tried. Remember how every time we ventured into the mist, it sounds like 1,000 voices, a chorus.
Yeah.
But there was one very distinct voice last time I was there. It sounded like a woman's voice. I suspect that she is not necessarily the light, but a representative of it. Aursa.
Right.
I suspect it comes from her. Perhaps it's a black and white, two sides of the same coin, and she is one half, and whatever is spurring on the mist is the other half, perhaps, a theory. But the,
Okay.
to answer your question, no, not really. Magic is not my strong suit. I don't know how this works. I do know that the longer we keep at this, the more I've figured it out. Remember, back when we first started traveling, the only thing I really knew how to do was hit really hard. And that was it. But
Yeah.
now I can see things, cast spells, and it's all coming from that same source. Maybe given some time, I'll figure out how to do it.
You've come a long way in 2 short weeks.
I think we all have.
That we have.
Let's leave these mines then. I don't trust that they won't just crumble around us any second now.
Let's get out of
Right,
here.
yes, no, especially with the fires still burning. Let's abscray.
Yeah.
That's right. I forgot Merlin with the place on
Yeah, I used
There's,
fireball. and it's
You're
Just a raging fire during this whole
there's
thing.
no crazy fire. I think I would imagine that if that was happening, you would all have left. There's some smoldering areas that are that make the timber holding some of these pieces of the mine up look a little more precarious. You can freely leave, or you can continue to explore the mine.
Oh, why do you say that? Now I want to explore.
No. You do whatever you want to do. I'll tell you what. I'll bring you back over to the battle map. And by all means, do not take it as any sort of incentivization towards death. I simply just want to let you know that technically, you went straight down the central mine shaft and towards the right, and discovered.
This is Brad's
the
way of
bones.
saying there's treasure.
Yeah, Brad's saying there's more in the mine. But Brad's saying there's more here, but it
And
might
traps.
be a trap or it might be
Yes.
treasure.
I don't.
It's a beholder. We need
I
to
do
go.
not want to incentivize you one way or the other, but I also don't want to get to the end of the campaign and you're like, what? You're telling me the Excalibur sword was in there and I could have gone and got it? And
Speaking of which, I was actually just about to ask. Vane's body. Does he have anything on him? I know the bones are cursed, but I'm actually thinking he was this warrior representing Goddess of Light. I wonder if she gave him anything neat. Maybe he has a magic sword.
so, he did have a magic sword. He had a very, very big claymore, I believe. Let me just double check so I don't misspeak, because we're, at this point. He had, yes, he had a great sword. But it is absolutely not here. He has his armor on that you recall as the kind of patchwork armor. Like, most of it seems to have been made from bits and pieces of very well-made armor. Here, it looks very battered and old and kind of ruined, but yeah, you get that sense of decent patchwork armor from hundreds of years ago. But the sword that you recall Vane having, this very powerful greatsword, is not here. I'm gonna still work under the rules of rolls that you made when you first came into here, and the wisdom roll that you made when you first came in and failed, that you're relatively disconnected from directly accessing Vane, Jermaine, and Eldarin's memories right now. So I don't think you know what happened to it or where it is. It's certainly not here though. Like, it's not like it's hidden under a rock or anything like that.
When you say certainly not here, you mean
In this chamber.
in
next
this
to
room,
his
but
body,
not
like-
necessarily. Okay. Yeah, I just meant
It's-
the room or the entirety of the mine.
Right.
So
You can make me one more wisdom save. I'll tell you whether it's in the mine.
Sure. A 20 this time.
It's not in this mine. You know that much. You know he had a big great sword and it was awesome, but It's not here.
Okay.
Question.
Hmm.
The strength we lost from the strength drain, has that recovered or is that
Nope.
permanent?
I think you have to do a long rest, and I will double check for you on the shadow.
Oh, yeah, you almost got drained to 0, didn't you?
I'm on 5 strength. Everything's
it's
fine.
So the strength drain reduced by 1d4. The target dies if it's reduced to 0. Otherwise, the reduction lasts until the target finishes a short or long rest. There you go.
Okay. Okie dokie.
So here's what I'll do. You guys, I'm just gonna go. We can go back to you can freely move your tokens around. Obviously, ignore the fact that these are all still here. I will do this for you so as not to confuse your tiny little player character minds. You're welcome.
I'm gonna freely move out of the mine.
Okay, if you're just leaving the mine, that's all good. I don't want you to not have the option because I didn't put it in front of you.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
And oh no,
Kind of want to poke
No,
around.
no. Obviously,
Listen,
if Will pokes around, I'm not going to leave him
Merlin,
alone. But
Fix, and Fire all wander out of the mine and begin to head back towards the entrance. Whereas I think Will maybe starts trailing behind as you determine what. Yeah, I mean, what does Will do?
Well, if they're all leaving, I'm probably going with them. But I'm also kind of. If Brad went through the trouble of preparing a beholder to kill us all, it would be rude to leave it in here without talking to it.
I have
right?
a 100% kill rate with Beholderkin. So
You didn't even need a beholder.
but don't worry about that. Listen, Will doesn't know I prepared a huge dungeon with lots of wonderful, amazing, incredible little delights hidden underneath terrifying, monstrous dangers.
You don't need to convince me, Brad. I want to explore the mine.
Does
if
Will wanna-
whatever Will decides to do, we will probably
We'll go with
do
him.
because it's Will, and now he's like the truth and the light. So we,
The Oracle.
yeah,
the
he is the
Superman
oracle.
theme. The Superman theme starts playing, and I'll just fly down the tunnel. No, perhaps we should poke around here. Other clues, perhaps. I'm not sure what else there is to benefit us here, though.
If you want to look around,
We came all this way. We might as well.
All right, you lead the way. We'll follow.
Yeah, I'll walk out. Jesse wants to explore the mine. Will doesn't care, but Jesse wants to see what's in here. So I'm going to walk a little deeper in and see what we got.
All right, let me remind myself of what horrors await you. Yeah, you head out of the chamber with the body of Vane in, and you continue to follow these mine tracks along this very ancient-looking mine. Old-looking tracks, most of them covered in dust and dirt and stones and rocks. A chamber to the left, a simple chamber with nothing but rocks and debris in it. Merlin pokes his head around, lifts a couple of rocks up. Nothing in this chamber as you head along. However, you take a few steps further forward. Ahead of you down here, you will notice a
That a chest.
big
I see treasure.
treasure chest.
I knew it!
And a ditch that looks, hopefully
in here,
that's probably a long way down.
there are several collapsed tunnels in here that lead off and branch off from this part of the mine. You get the sense that actually this was probably a central part of the mine long ago, but almost all of the tunnels in here have fallen in and created more of a chamber. The lumber in this room that is supporting the walls creaks and groans distinctly. There is a chest that you can see, an unmarked thing, likely containing some of the miners' things before they were left behind. It's not like this was a treasure mine or an ancient tomb or anything like that. This was a mine shaft. People worked in here and it collapsed naturally. There is a huge fallen in piece of the mine, a massive hole that is perhaps an 80-foot drop to the bottom of the mine shaft. It seems to lead down to a lower chamber that was probably one of these tunnels that took you down further into this mine and ran underneath this chamber itself. And the gap over to the other side of the chest is about a 10-foot gap towards this chest itself. The fall itself would hurt one. Obviously, you guys are aware of Featherfall and all that kind of stuff, and that's all good. But if you weren't to cast any sort of spells, falling into this hole, you get the horrible sense it would bring the cavern down. In fact, any sort of movement inside this chamber here that's too abrupt might bring the roof down on you. Of all the areas of the mine that you have been in, this chamber, which we will say kind of starts around where Merlin and Fire are, where these two pillars, these posts are located. This chamber itself is most definitely the most precarious looking thing. Barely any wood and timber holding this thing, almost no frame left behind. It's pretty much just being held up by its own kind of collapsed areas. The hole lies in front of you. The chest on the other side of a simple 10-foot jump over an 80-foot drop.
So don't cast Thunderwave in here.
I recommend not casting anything. I probably wouldn't even cast Mage Hand. But
I love that.
Darn it, I was gonna use that, Brad.
no, you can potentially do.
Brad's
Mage
like,
Hand.
here's how I kill the party. I just put a chest next to a giant cave in and wait. And the
There
party will
is
do the rest.
essentially in here a chest next to a giant cave in. Depending on how you guys want to potentially approach this, I will let you know. But that is what is in here. What do you do?
Okay. Well, I was going to say I could easily hop across, but I worry that heavy armor jumping
Yeah,
10-foot gap.
You're gonna make the
I
ground
have a
shake.
question, Brad.
Yeah.
With Misty Step, I can go 30 feet. So could I go 15 across and 15 back, or is it only one
I don't
journey?
think so. I think it's because that's not movement, that's the spell itself. Do you get, what is
Yeah,
this,
yeah.
once a day elf bullshit?
Let me see. Yeah. You teleport up to 30 feet. Okay, so now I can just...
Yeah, then you'd have to
Just do
recast
it.
it to do it again.
Yeah, but I only
Movement
get
you
once
can
a day,
split up, but this is a
so-
singular
fuck.
spell thing. You could Misty
I can
Step
get there,
over
but
there.
I can't get back.
We don't need whatever's in there.
Right. There's no need for us to all die for a box that's been sitting down here for who knows how many hundreds of years.
Okay.
But
I'm
I
just
really want
offering.
to see what's. But I really do want to see what's in there. Merlin, can you use your magic hand and just here and take my climbing rope and just use your magic hand and just hook it onto the thing, and I'll reel it in.
Okay, that sounds like a reasonable and safe plan. All right, let's do that. All right, I'm gonna cast Mage Hand and take the rope.
Yeah. You
I step back away from everybody.
Yeah, anyone if you're in this room on the map,
I'll step back.
Yeah.
that's where you are.
Well,
In the room
I
counts
know.
as beyond. Would you like a line? Shall I draw a line for
Yes,
you?
draw a
Yes,
line
please.
in the
I'll
sand.
I'll stand right here.
I am
and
going
see.
to, for the sake of fear, I will draw you a green line. Wow, that was incredible. I thought that
Wow.
was going to be a straight line, but
It's pretty good.
Thank
pretty
you
good.
so
It was so
much.
good, Brad. It was really good.
this
You're
is-
really good at art.
my number one pet peeve in the world is drawing on my battle map, and I did it myself. But there it is, and that is the end of it. So you cast the Mage Hand, and you're taking the rope over to the other side with the intention of what? Sorry, what were you doing with it on the other side? You can lazily float the hand over, and then the rope goes with it.
Yeah. Wait, what are we doing with the rope?
Just find like it's gotta have like a carry handle or something. Just hook my
Okay.
little grappling hook thing.
All right.
Onto
Okay,
it.
and we
Wherever
just
is
pull it over? Okay, all right, then. Okay.
Well,
I'll
I'm
do-
gonna just trust me. Just go do it.
Okay, all right. So with the tiny little mage hand, I'm gonna have it float over with the rope, tie a good knot on one of the handles, and pass the rope then over to Will, the other side.
Yep, grappling hook grappled in on side of this chest. Rope 30 feet away.
I'm going to give it a gentle pull to see how heavy this chest is. Like, I want to see if this thing weighs 5 pounds or 50 pounds before I decide.
Don't know what pounds are. Let's find out what pounds are in stone. 50 pounds. Because I should have thought about that. I would say, let's see what 25 pounds is. Maybe about 20 pounds, I guess. Americans.
Okay. Well, that's not too bad.
Yeah. Give me an investigation check, Will.
Sure. A 6.
You're not sure whether the weight is from something in the chest or whether it's the chest itself. From here, it's kind of hard to tell whether the wood is, some very heavy, dense wood that they've built the chest out of. It's survived all these years for the most part. As you pull it a little bit, a couple of rocks tumble off of the top. It's covered in dust. Pulled from a cobweb. There's a kind of a few rocks that tumble down. It echoes off the 80-foot drop as it falls into the smaller stones fall into that hole there. But yeah, I'll go with 20 pounds under the understanding that I don't know what 20 pounds really is. If I was to
we can use a little weight converter, right?
It's about a stone and a half in English, which is about right.
It shows it as 9 kilograms. Does that make more sense?
Nope. No idea what a kilogram is. We measure things in stones in the UK. Yes, we still have dragons.
Things in bags of sugar.
And bags of sugar. I have no
1.4 stone.
Yeah.
There we
that
go.
Sounds about right if I were to guess.
Okay, well that's really freaking light then. Could easily lift that. So I'll tug it and say, it's actually not nearly as heavy as I was expecting. Hold on. And I'm gonna walk back into the room.
Okay.
And die hilariously. I'll stand right here and then say, Merlin, can you lift that actually with your hand? It's not heavy.
Well, I can carry things 10 pounds.
How much is it? 10 pounds that you can carry with that?
Yeah, with the mage hand.
So then no, you can't. It doesn't lift under the strength of the mage hand.
My little hand is mighty, but unfortunately it won't be able to carry that.
Okay, well, just keep it steady then. Or lift what you can then, and I'm gonna just pull it towards me. Because it's pretty lightweight. I'll just pull it so that it, goes to drop into the chasm and then just pull it straight up.
Is it locked?
You can see a small padlock on the front of it, yeah.
Okay, good. That's actually pretty good. Imagine if it didn't have the lock and all the contents would just fall down.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just opens and hey, there goes the magic medallion. Whee! Like right down the thing. Yeah,
so
Merlin,
you're gonna pull this thing into the hole.
Yeah, I'm just gonna pull it into the hole and then pull it up. But I'm telling Merlin, after I pull this thing off the edge, just steady it, right? Don't let it wag back and forth, would you?
Will do.
And then I'll just pull it off the edge.
Yeah. Give me a I guess just give me a dex. Give me a sleight of hand check with advantage since you have the mage hand, just to make sure you don't butcher this in some way and it swings sharply, or as it hits the bottom it swings and strikes the other side. Pretty much what you're trying to pull off happens on a natural 20 with the help of the mage hand here. Kind of without it really, but the box, this chest, is pulled to the edge and it falls into the hole. You give the rope enough slack that it doesn't swing violently towards the other side of the hole here. The mage hand steadies it and stops it from gaining too much momentum in the same way. As it falls into the hole, you kind of maybe almost like fishing with it. You hold the rope steady over the edge of the hole and it doesn't do any mad swaying, doesn't do any horrible crush swinging into the other side of the hole here. And it sits now just hanging, dangling, maybe 30 feet down, 20 feet down below you in this hole.
Yeah, and then I'll just hoist it straight up if it's that lightweight.
Easily done. Tuck it under an arm and run out.
Yep.
Yeah.
I will just calmly walk out of the room with the box and say, "Oh, that was easy enough."
Yeah. You have this chest now. Again, it is about 20 pounds, did I say? So it's not massively heavy. Moving it though, and as you feel it, you can feel that it's filled with a bunch of stuff. You also hear two kind of glass bottles knock against each other in there as you move.
Ooh.
I'll just
It does have a
I'll
small
just turn to
padlock on the
fire.
front though.
Yeah, I'll turn to fire and say, "Your skills include disarming these things," and point at the lock.
Is it a trap or just locked?
I think it's just an ordinary lock, but this thing
You
is
think?
kind of annoyingly bulky, and I don't want to carry it around. So let's see what's in our plunder, and I'll just set the box down like out here outside the cave-in room.
You can give me an investigation check to try and look for traps if you want fire.
17.
17. This certainly does not seem trapped at all. It looks like the type of thing that someone might just leave things in. You'd maybe guess that maybe someone important once upon a time left things in here, and there's enough valuables in here that they locked it while they went to work, maybe, or maybe it's just an on-site thing. But it certainly doesn't seem like, again, the type of thing where you're going to unlock it and, this was a work site. It's not like there's going to be too many dangers, and I think you get the sense of that from this. There's no like poison dart that's going to strike
I
you.
will try to unlock it.
Yeah, you have thieves tools.
Yep.
Yeah, give me a thieves tools check.
15.
Boom, makes it, breaks it. Takes you a moment to just kind of get used to this. I think maybe you kind of go at it thinking this is going to be nothing, and it takes a while before you realize that this is a weird padlock, and then you get the sense that it's a fucking really old padlock, like really old, and the tumblers inside are just built different. Before you realize it's the same kind of mechanism. Click, click, and the thing opens the catch on the padlock.
Well, this is exciting. We're in a literal gold mine.
Almost.
I just step away. I did my job.
Scaredy cat. I'll just open it myself. I'll just throw it open.
Yeah. Everyone roll me a d20. Let's find out what's inside and whether it was worth it.
I was waiting for the D20
I have
for the
no part of
fireball.
this.
You have found my random loot box. Could be good, could be awful.
Either way, it's free.
Either
that
way,
means it's good.
free. A 19. So I'm just going to do them in the order that you rolled them in. Oh no, there's a 20 there first. 13. So this is the first thing you find in here is a a silvered short sword with elven script carved into it, and that is pretty crazy actually. You would be able to read it, and I'm gonna get you.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
I'm gonna get you what it says. Oh yeah.
It says, "Do not open. This is a trap."
That is funny.
Do not open trapped box. Sword will eat your soul.
It says on it, right? It says, "The moon is my loyal companion." Written in elven script down this silvered short sword. That is the first thing in it. Anyone that can read elven, in fact. So I just have to write this down. So
I will just turn that over in my hands and then place it carefully in my bag.
okay. So fire just helps herself to that. By the way, you guys rolled. It doesn't mean that it's like it magically appears in your hands. It's just I made each of you do a thing. But yeah, the elf takes the elven silvered short sword. The second number that you rolled here was a 19. And this one should be interesting. And that is wow, more silver, which makes sense. This was a gold and silver mine. There is a silver armband in here that looks like a snake eating its own tail.
Ouroboros.
Yeah, literally. Silver armband, snake.
With the with the sword, it was probably a fire. What does this say? And then with the armband, it's like, Merlin, this thing's probably magic. What is it? And then just hand it to Merlin.
Do an Arcana check, Merlin.
26.
It's super not magic at all. But you probably do recognize this Ouroboros thing. It expresses the unity of all things, material, magical, and spiritual. It's just a very nicely made silver armband, non-magical.
Can I just tell Will it's magical anyway?
Absolutely. What do you tell him it does? This is gonna get him killed one day.
I can't wait for it to be like, this is a lightning resisting thing. Fast forward 20
I
minutes.
will tell him.
The lightning bolt.
I have the
I will-
power.
I will tell him upon wearing this will give you loose bowel movement, so I would avoid wearing it.
Yeah. Well, we'll just sell it then.
Yep, probably worth a pretty penny. Then you
Yeah,
rolled
it
a
looks fancy
9. You find a small bottle of whiskey. It is an elven.
Are you kidding me? Like one of those in the mini bar?
Yeah,
That's what
it is
I
now.
find.
I was gonna go with slightly bigger than that, but now no, it's a mini bar thing. But this thing is a 700-year malt. Which means it's either going to be the most awesome thing you've ever drank if you were, or maybe one of the strongest, just weirdest things you've ever drunk if you're into whiskey, or probably, again, would fetch a decent price. So that is a small bottle of elven whiskey.
Nice.
700-year-old malt. Pretty crazy. Last thing you find in here is 5. And is that last one? Yes. Okay, 5. Wow. So maybe not worth doing all of this. Would have not been worth it if you brought the cave in. I'm going to give you the absolute truth here, by the way. By far the most dangerous cavern in this whole thing was this one.
Whoa.
Cool. Yeah, nice.
And also, based on random rolls, could have just been who knows how powerful you could have walked out of here, but instead you get a ring that is magical. Sticking with the theme here, we're going to say it's a silver ring. It is magical. And Merlin, give me an Arcana check. I won't make you do a detect magic though.
18.
Oh, you recognize these rings. These are kind of little, they're expensive, but they're fun. They're the type of thing that like nobles might buy in like a big city or something like that. Usually kind of just for, I don't know, just rich people messing around. Rich, again, is not crazy in this. We're not talking like, oh, hey, lovely to see you. There's none of these like insane rich level people, but usually people that can afford trinkets like this are still the upper echelon. This is a silver ring that is, again, probably worth a decent amount of money, but it's very simple. It allows the wearer to change the color of their eyes, and it can only be used once a day. So that's what that does. A silver ring allows wearer to change the color of their eyes one day.
Merlin would tell fix that. That's what the magical ring possesses.
There is a bunch of other stuff in here, but it's like old, worn. There are a bunch of papers that are just turn to dust in your hands. You can see that there are several what were probably once just workman's clothes type of things that you might change in and out of. But again, kind of just obliterated through age and time. These items, however, have stood the test of time. The box itself is actually pretty kind of old and worn and busted up. Probably could have just beat it and it would have fallen apart, but you don't want to do that in this cave. Those are the 4 items. So I will put those in our group as well. I will double check on all the prices if you were to sell each one as well. But you are still in here. So those items, and that's pretty much it. Again, there's a few bits in here presumably about 500 years old, if not older, because that was the last time that the mine was in use. What do you do next?
I say now we go.
Yeah, once we're done emptying this thing out, I'll say, well, to the victors go the spoils, and then I'll push the box out of the way. Now let's get out of here.
Gently, very
I am
gently.
satisfied with this haul of loot.
You trundle on down the hall or the tunnel again, back past all of the creaking wooden supports, the echoes of small little stones falling behind you, and your footfalls echoing out in all the many different tunnels. And you head back towards the area of the cave where the hole was made for you to be able to safely move in and out of the cave itself and step outside. Now, let me check on what time it is for
There
you.
is this path to the left we haven't explored. And this
Oh,
path
the other two
No.
paths. As Will turns around again.
Oh god, we're almost out, and Will
Okay,
goes,
as-
but wait.
When we reach this
one."
intersection, I'm just going to point that way and say, there could be more valuables left down here after the cave-in.
More things to carry around.
Hey, fair enough. Well, yeah, I suppose it's nothing too crazy, but at the very least, if we end up needing to buy supplies, I think the whiskey and the silvers we just found will probably sell for a decent amount. But you're right, it's probably not worth dying in a cave-in over this stuff. Let's just leave.
All right.
I
And
tell
yeah,
you what, if we survive this, we can come back and we can search to your heart's content.
If we survive this, we can come back and maybe die then.
yeah.
I like the way you think.
Save the world first. Loot the cave later.
Priorities.
Yeah, you step back out past the kind of crumbling entrance and back into that more reinforced main entrance hall, and head back out into the darkness of early morning. It is, by your measure, roughly around 5:30 a.m., somewhere around there. The town continues to be kind of pretty busy. The sounds of the town kind of moving up from the lower levels of this city. Again, it's like a multi-plateaued thing surrounded by mesas with a wasteland desert all around it. Here at nighttime under the moonlight, you don't have a huge view of the landscape or anything like that, but it certainly is kind of just a central thing in the middle of this open, relatively flat plains of an area that is a desert, again, because nothing here grows, not because of temperature. It would be pretty cold still. And the town kind of didn't really ever go to sleep, but it certainly isn't the like crazy hustle and bustle of like a midday town. It's still relatively quiet out here. You do know of a tavern in town that you guys headed past when you came up towards the area where the Mulgreesh were, the group that run this town, pretty much partially military, partially oldest people, and also elders of the descendants of the Dandelo clan that first built their tribe here. And the tavern really is just a huge building with beds if you wanted somewhere to rest. Alternatively, you know the way out of town, and but I don't know where you're going to go. I would presume that you're heading towards Gore's Point next. And just because I know that it's really hard to remember everything and I had to work it out myself, it has been 3 days since Aurius told you that he would be in Gore's Point in 5 days. I'll bring you over to the world map if you want, and let's work out that. Do you care? I don't know. This seems like the type of thing you should probably care about, so I'm gonna go ahead and just help you work it out. So following the road out of Dandelo over to Nim, 2.5 days, 3 days. Gonna take you 4, maybe 5 days to get to Gore's Point. He said he would wait in Gore's Point for a few days as well. But you have that potential meeting. You don't have to go there. You can stand him up. You can go and do your own thing. You can go elsewhere. You can do all these other things. But that is just one of the things that we had a timer on to remind you, because it has been a long time in real life. It's hard to remember that stuff. But for you guys, it's been 3 days since you left Kira in character.
The ticking time bomb at Gore's Point. How many days would it take us if we went north by way of Gerfreda instead?
Oh, well, I'll give you. You guys can use this map yourselves. The ruler icon on the left. So each hex is about a day. This is just based on average travel, and like nothing goes wrong, or you don't get lost, or crazy things happen. And we're also essentially following the road. Going off road can slow down your time and things, but generally speaking, you can turn snapping off. That makes it a little easier as well. You're going north to Kira, would be another 3 days to get to Kira. Then you would be going off road if you were going straight through this kind of dense forest to Gore's Point. Alternatively, going all the way up to follow the roads is another day, 3, 4, 5, 6 days. Go up and around through Gerfreda.
So 6 days instead of 4 if we went that road. Do we travel faster if we follow the roads as opposed to cutting through dense forest? I'm assuming, because if we go through forest, we'd maybe get lost or whatever.
Yeah, the roads aren't amazing. So actually, technically, no. The road is really just a kind of idea, but what it does is it reduces your chance of being lost or encountering worse things to be on the road, which obviously could very badly slow you down or completely ruin your entire travel experience or die, etc. So that's kind of how the road works in this. Being on a road kind of lessens a lot of DCs when I'm rolling for you on the travel. It's mechanically what it does.
The minor travel inconvenience known as death.
Yeah,
I hate when that happens.
It's a very difficult place to live. So,
He said the thing.
yeah.
Okay. I don't know. Me personally, I'm inclined to want to head by way of Gerfreda because personal reasons, but we could also just head straight to Gore's Point. I guess it's whatever the rest of the party is feeling. But we should head east either way, I think.
I think if Will were to share that, we would, at least Fire would be fine with taking the Gerfreda route.
Yeah, Thix is not looking forward to meeting with Aurius, so
Yeah.
they would be happy to put it off, I think.
So, we head east. We have to go to Gore's Point, but if at all possible, I'd like to take the long way around. Granted, this will make us somewhat late for our meeting with Aurius, but I have business in Gerfreda that needs tending. I have to deliver some unfortunate news to a man that lives there, and I can't dodge that responsibility any longer. And this will be the first time in our travels we've gone anywhere near there, so I need to take advantage of it if that's okay with the rest of you.
It's fine with me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's quite alright with me too, but Aurius did mention, well, if we did not arrive, upon the amount of days he gave us, he would not wait.
This is true. It's only going to make a
Why?
difference of a day or two, though.
I thought he said he would give us a few days.
If we know what we have to do, why do we need to
Right.
see him anyway?
That is the question, right? I'm leaning the same way. I'm still inclined to kill the crazy fool as soon as I see him.
He will die.
Wait, did he mention he would give us extra time? I can't remember.
He said he would wait there a day or two, if he had to. Was that... You're the one who told us what he said. But if I recall correctly, he said he would arrive there in 5 days, and he would wait for us for a few days. So in reality, we should have had 7 or 8 days? 5 plus however long he waits. I'm
We'll be fine
pretty
either
sure we
way.
can still catch him. And honestly, if we inconvenience him in some way, I'm not going to lose sleep over it.
No, I'm
If
not
you guys
want
to blow him off. Sorry, go ahead, Merlin.
Oh no, I was just gonna say I don't mind blowing him off a little bit. Make him wait.
What if he finds a way to consolidate power, though?
Oh, well.
I think that's a perfectly valid question, but if we really think about it, I'm fairly confident that him consolidating power is something he would have to do out in that lighthouse at the sea. Doubt there's anything in Gore's Point that's going to give him such a huge advantage.
People.
People?
There are people in Gore's Point, right? He's sustained pretty heavy losses up at Somers Point. Gives him a chance to recruit.
Right. You think he'll hire more sellswords?
I think whatever it is he thinks he's doing is something that people might find objectionable if they knew. And he would probably want something, a barrier there between anybody coming after him. Just to do what he's doing. What is he even doing?
Who knows?
Therein lies the issue, right? We still don't know. The only thing that causes me to perhaps hesitate slightly with just trying to kill him.
Yeah.
At the very least, in his own mind, he's convinced that whatever he's doing is the right thing or the good of everybody, but I'm still leaning towards the idea that he's just quite insane. I think he's a puppet. I think whatever entity it was in the mist that was steering our actions earlier has implanted some idea in his head, and he thinks he's saving us all, but in reality, he's just serving some darkness he doesn't understand. He was also willing to
Isn't that
end
just
the lives a lot of...
we're doing?
No, it's not. You don't see us going town to town, butchering families and stealing their children.
No. But we are following
no.
something we don't understand.
Okay, and? We're all walking blind here, Fix. We don't know what we're walking into, but the difference is we're not leaving a trail of death and destruction and broken lives behind us. He is.
I know.
It's not the same.
Maybe not yet. What if he started?
Fire.
What if he's...
And as
I'm not saying I'm gonna start killing people. No, that's not what I was saying, and I'm quite offended that you would even... How dare you all?
No,
that's what I meant.
I didn't mean to come across that way.
I'm just kidding. You're probably right to think that. I was just going to say that... What if he started the same way that we did? And ended up the way that he did?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Just a fun thought that I had.
I am by no means implying that we have all the solutions or that we're even doing the right thing. Right now, we're just seeking answers.
Right.
And
I just think the more we're aware of our position, the less likely we are to fall into the same trap, right?
Right. I don't disagree. So where are you leading with this?
I don't know. I see what Aurius is doing, and I know what he has done. And I know we all want him to die. But we need him to be alive because we need to know what he knows. Just want to make sure we know who we are and why we're doing this.
More answers to figure out on the road. Something tells me we're really not gonna see the actual truth behind all this until we reach that lighthouse in the sea. when we reach the Dark Tower.
Do
I'm
you
imagining
want to
things
stop
will be
the
laid
mist?
plain there. How does one stop the mist any more than one stops gravity? I'm still not sure what stopping the mist implies. You mean remove it? Burn it from this land?
You heard what Merlin's friend said.
Right.
Things are set in motion already. In doing what we've done, we are on a pathway.
Correct.
Is that what we want? Aurius wants to put an end to the mist, right? That's what he said. And we seem to be working opposite to him, and yet reaching the same goal. It's just... I don't know. I can't connect the dots. I can't make sense of it in my head. It's just all I can think about at the moment.
It's because you don't have all the dots fixed.
I know.
You're trying to connect and draw a picture. You're solving a puzzle, but you're missing too many key pieces, and I feel
know.
you're driving yourself kind of mad. Here's the thing. If we wanted to remove the mist entirely, and so did Aurius, fair enough, but why? What's the motive? I, for one, would like to have clean air and sunshine. But Aurius, he clearly has a deeper motive than that. He's tampering with forces that he doesn't understand. He's willing to ruin other people's lives over it. He's quite convinced that seeking this power is his right. So, while our end goals might be somewhat similar, the way we're going about it is quite different, and I'm not convinced that simply removing the mist is all he wants to do. He wouldn't have
And what
gone
if
so
we're
far
all
out of his
just
way.
puppets, and something is controlling, knowing
Fix,
what we
I'm
want
gonna-
deep inside?
I'm gonna put both hands on Fix's shoulders. Fix. Answers in time. You're simply going to drive yourself mad. Asking these questions to which we don't have the answers
How do I
to.
know we're not already mad? All of us.
We don't.
I'm sorry. I've been following on this path for so long, and I still have no clue what I'm doing. And I came here for very different reasons.
Fix, let me ask you a question. You've been following this for 20 years, right? I've been following it for about a month. So I can't really relate. It's had a much longer time to take its toll on you, but how close have you ever been before?
To what? This?
Reaching the end of all this, figuring out the answers, catching Aurius, you name it, all of it, whatever you're trying to accomplish. How close have you ever gotten before? I dare say probably not this close. We're right on the edge. When we get to that lighthouse, hopefully all the answers we're looking for will be out there and you can finally put your mind at ease, but in the meantime, stop torturing yourself. It's not helping. I'm not going to tell you to relax, because we shouldn't be relaxing, really. But take a breath and focus. Alright, the end is in sight. Exactly what that end is, I don't know. Neither does Aurius. Neither do any of us. But we'll deal with it together when we get there. So, try to keep your mind in one piece so when we do get there, you can help us out, yeah?
Yeah.
Good.
You're just saying what we're all thinking. I hope you know that.
Agreed. You're not alone.
No, all of the questions you ask are quite valid. Trust me.
I've seen this thing inside me, the way it resides in the mist, and I'm terrified that doing what we're doing is going to set those creatures loose. Here. Things we have no understanding of.
You're right. I wish I
Again.
had something better to say, but you're right, and we don't know.
And there's nothing you can say, and I know.
But what are the options right now? I mean, we
I know.
can stop.
Here are the options. We see this through to the end, and we make those decisions ourselves when the time comes, or we let somebody else do it, and then you hope that whatever they do works out in everyone's best interests. Now, you tell me, do you want to leave the
If
fate of
anybody
everybody?
has to do this, I'd rather it be us.
Right.
I just wish it didn't have to be, you know?
I spent years marching around and following orders while other men made all the decisions. I just swung the sword. At the end of the day, we just did what we were told. Had very little agency, very little impact. I'm done with that. No more. We can't just leave this to Aurius or some other
I know.
individuals, whoever wants to interfere. It has to be us.
You know, you and I are, believe it or not, very alike. I spent many years not wanting to think for myself. Being afraid to make the decisions that I let my family make for me because I didn't trust myself. And now we're out here having to make those decisions ourselves. And have any of us ever had to make these decisions before? Have any of us been in this position of leadership?
Not real leadership, no.
I'd say I have, but the stakes have never quite been this high.
Terrifying.
And to answer your question, or observation, can't say I have, no. I've never met anyone who's quite so polar opposite to me while also being quite so similar. Let's hit the road. Aurius can wait an extra day or two, because truthfully, when we sail out into that ocean, go to this tower, we don't know what we're going to find. And even if we do finally get the answers we're looking for out there, we might not like them. And the reality is it may be a one-way trip. Who knows? So before that happens, I have one last affair that I need to set in order. I have to visit Lyra's parents in Gerfreda and tell them what happened to her. My one last responsibility as a normal person.
And we support you, of course, in this will. We'll go with you.
Yeah.
It feels so strange. Tackling monsters and darkness and death and magic and all that, and yet the most frightening thing I've had to do is go talk to the girlfriend's dad. Yeah. Makes no sense, does it?
Oh, it makes a lot of sense.
But I have to do that. And once that's done, I can essentially toss away the final remnants of what I used to be. And we can go out to this tower and we can bring this whole thing crashing down and see what happens.
Don't toss away the remnants of who you used to be. You need those.
It's what made you who you are today.
Just
You might be right.
keep them safe somewhere. Inside you.
I'll keep them safe with my other three selves. What could go wrong? Let's hit the
Three
road.
protectors.
Is the plan to head straight out?
How long has it been since we slept? I can't remember. 'Cause we
Probably
didn't
a while.
sleep.
Yeah, you
Was
had
that
a
the bridge?
rest. It would have been. Let me just see how far away that bridge is. You probably would have had another rest between the bridge and Dandelo. So it would have been. Came into town, kind of like midnight. So it's been about 5-6 hours since then. And then you would have done a full walk, which is usually around 8 hours. So it has been 14 hours plus a fight, plus the exhaustion from the strength thing. So probably
the strength thing is rough.
pretty long freaking time.
Yeah.
Do we want to stay at the tavern and then head out after?
Yeah, we
I
could
don't
do
think
that.
that's a bad
Oh.
idea. Getting some rest could do us some good.
We could do that, or we could head back to our favorite bridge. We could be trolls under the bridge again.
Bridge is like a day
No,
away.
I think having actual
Yeah.
beds would be a nice change of pace.
Are you hungry, Merlin?
Well, I didn't want to have to bring it up, but you know me. I'm, well, always hungry now. More especially
tighten my
now that I'm
helmet.
dead.
I'll tighten my helmet.
I'll go get you something. Or I'll get you something, I don't know, something from the pub maybe. Try to find you a pig head or something.
I don't want to come across too picky, you know. Whatever they have.
You can be as picky as you want.
You spoil me, Fire.
It's part of my job.
Yeah, I think you guys head down towards the kind of market area, towards the center of this town where the tavern is. Looking at stalls, checking out any of the like fresh huntsman stalls that are being set up very early in the morning for any kind of fresh kills and things like that. And it's probably a good place for us to go to a short break here. When we come back, we'll probably rejoin you after a long rest or a
Yeah.
short rest.
Yeah.
Might as well do a long rest. Huh?
Long, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Short break here, few minutes, and then when we return, we'll head out back on the road again. Thanks for watching. See you in a few. Welcome back. Sorry, Bri, what was your question?
I had just asked Brad if we had caved in that area, would it have been most likely death? And he
tell you.
said, I'll answer that live.
That's just purely
Which doesn't
because
make me
it was
feel
the
good.
end of the ad break video
Yeah,
that I
yeah.
have. So the way that worked, for those of you DMs out there that are interested in trying to kill your party but don't want to just pull the entire thing down on them and kill them immediately, there were ways around it. I didn't know what you were going to do. I assumed that you would do some mage hand bullshit and make it easy for yourselves. But if not, you can do acrobatics checks to get around the edges of the thing. There were like 4 different DC levels with different things that could go wrong. But if you essentially anything that led to you to cause a cave in, everyone would have had to make dex saving throws to jump or run out of the cavern in time, or else you take 5d10 bludgeoning damage from the falling rocks and debris, and anyone reduced to 0 HP wouldn't have been killed, but would have been trapped under the debris. So you'd have had to make further athletics checks to move debris off of them.
Just out of curiosity.
33. So it would have been bad, but not too horribly bad. And fun fact, when I ran my first ever campaign, which was called the Mind Harvest, which was in a kind of basically this setting, but I rewrote everything for this campaign. There was a character in it called Vain Wolfchild, and he punched a wall and brought a cave in on himself and killed and TPK'd the party and ended the campaign.
Amazing.
So the character Vain Wolfchild is a nod to that. Him being in this cave is a nod to that, and they were in a town called Dandelo. So it's all just stupid little nods to a stupid thing that no one cares about except for maybe me and 3 people who remember that first ever campaign I ran years and years ago. So, just stupid things. There's so many of them, no one will ever know. Welcome to How I DM. So,
I love them.
let's rejoin you all. Merlin will have eaten some. You would have found him something. You would have stayed a night at the inn. Mark off, let's say 2 gold from whoever's your accountant at the moment. You mark off 2 gold for just like food and rooms or a room or whatever it is. That's just the general going rate, and plus the fact that you would have had some specialty meat, some brains for your undead creature that's following you around. And we'll probably say it will be because you would have had to go in and eat and everything as well. Plus the. Do you guys need 8 hours of rest? What is this with the rules of this party? Who? Are any of you?
I just meditate.
You meditate. He just needs to eat. Merlin needs to eat. Do you?
I need.
You need
8
the full 8, and then.
Pretty sure I follow normal human sleeping rules. So
All right.
yeah, normal 8 hours.
Let's say it has been 10 hours then. So it'll be the middle of the day by the time you guys have eaten food, woken up, maybe eaten more food, and packed your things and headed out. You would have stayed the night
And
in the.
resummoned Vita.
Yep, Vita's back.
My boy.
Does he show up like, what the hell, man?
Yeah.
What the
How
heck,
does he
mom?
feel? What do you think
used me as
happened?
a decoy.
I don't think Vita. I don't think has those kinds of feelings.
Aw,
He
for the best.
he is just absolutely beholden to Fix in a way
Goodest
that is.
boy.
Yeah.
I love him so
I think he's like, okay, that happened. What are we doing now? He's like one of those kind of
like a little
things.
puppy.
Right.
Yeah, like a dog.
He's like a puppy. They, you can resummon him. You guys would have stayed at this tavern in Dandelo. It's known as the Tusk. It's kind of like a huge Viking longhouse, essentially, with lots of flags and sigils along it that are reminiscent of tribal culture, with the Dandelo clan being the central pillar of this town. It's a weird building with a tower in it. It has like a workshop inside of it as well, with people fixing their wares and weapons and armor, as well as lots of tables with people playing cards and smoking that leaf of the sand, that sweet smell constantly. You guys would have eaten food here. They do a lot of sweet foods. They've got things like nutmeg here because it's kind of the only things that they can grow in this kind of environment. So they have a lot of like cinnamons and things like that. So there's quite a lot of sweet things. They have brandy as well, which is a local kind of specialty. So you guys would have had this evening at this essentially like a huge kind of Viking longhouse. Decent food, decent drinks, and then you would have been given there's really only a common room here, so a very simple looking thing with a simple cot to stay in and sleep in. And by the time morning rolls around, or well, not morning, I guess by the time you finished your long rest, and it is the center of it would be 10 hours, would be about 4:30 in the afternoon, 4:30, and Let's see how much daylight you have on this here day. A lot. Yeah, this is it's been light for 6 hours already. And you would see Dandelo, I think, for the first time by daylight, which would be interesting, maybe. These kind
So,
of...
Can I ask what the light patterns have been so far? Because at first it was like an hour of daylight, and then I think you said it got longer, but then it got shorter again for a little bit, and now it's longer.
Correct.
Right.
Is it because we're out here in the desert? Maybe they get more sunshine.
Maybe.
We are further from the mist. That might be it.
You definitely anybody that would have been awake or would be not sleeping up until this point would notice that it got light around 10 a.m. But it remains light most of the time while you've been traveling down here. It has been about 6 hours, 5 or 6 hours of daylight, kind of just flipping between 4 and 6 most of this campaign. It has hit about 8 hours of daylight today. You maybe have about 2 hours left of daylight before during this travel time, as you guys pack up your things and potentially head out of town. Is there anything else you're doing in the town? You can do the quick buying stuff as well, but I think you kind of did it, so up to you. You've bought up all the potions, I think, which is usually the main thing that you want to buy, right?
Yeah, just the usual buy them out of stock on all their healing potions.
Actually, I
can't
will
think
take
of
some
anything I
time
need
to
do.
craft some if I can.
Yeah, do you have stuff? What do you have?
I think I maybe have just enough for a regular potion of healing, not the greater.
A regular potion of healing. Yeah, because you had a few
Mushrooms.
bits. Yeah. I just wondered because I know you. Oh no, we did all the other ones, didn't we? At once, I remember. I think.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah. So you need to make me a herbalism kit roll, please. You have to beat what, a
16.
12? Yeah. Bam. You make with that a that is a. Is it? You're up to a greater potion of healing now. Or what do we bump you up to? Where I have a million things open for this
Ooh.
one today.
I mean, I do have the greater potions of healing, but I think I need mushrooms for that.
All
not
of
sure if
your
I-
potions that the ones that you buy are just standard healing
Oh.
potions. And then there is the next one up. I can't remember if it's it is a greater healing. So normal healing potions do 2d4 plus 2. You craft with foraging now and your skill greater healing potions. So it's important to differentiate them because they do 4d4 plus 4. So you have one of those. I'm going to go ahead and assume it's the only one you have.
Yep, it's the only one.
And all of the other potions, whoever is holding on to how many potions you have or how many each of you have, I can't remember who's
I
doing
think we
what.
distributed them.
So those would be normal healing potions. But remember that Merlin makes greater healing potions. He can forage to find the ingredients and craft one of those per day on a travel rest. So you make one of those, greater healing potion. And let's say you head out of town, I guess. Now, again, pretty simple. Your plan is to practically retrace your steps, or are you going to try and take that shortcut through the what's it called? What did I call them? In the there is the twin rocks that you can move through that reduces your travel time by a significant amount. It's 3 days to Kira. By following the road, heading to the bridge and heading up along the desert, or it's a day and a half, little over, just to get, if you take the shortcut that you were told about, out of
Here's
Kira.
the thought. Here's the thought that could potentially get us all killed as well. What if we took a straight shot to Gerfreda from here?
Absolutely, you can do that. It's just super like off-roady stuff. There's absolutely no telling what's in the deep forests there. It's the thickest forest on the mainland that isn't belonging to the elves down by the iris tree, and it is huge. But you are, if you're a good enough ranger and you want to do it, you do not have to follow roads here. If you want to just go from Dandelo to Gofreda, it's going to take you, I mean, judging by that, if you just made a straight shot, didn't encounter anything, didn't get lost, nothing went wrong, it's only going to take you about, let's say, 4 days. Because it's rougher
So
terrain.
if we did it that way, in theory, we get all the way to Gofreda, and we're not even late for our appointment with Aurius if we don't all die.
Depends if you are a gambling party or not.
I'm just thinking out loud, options here.
It's absolutely doable. Everyone give me an insight check, and add them together. You have to beat 25. I think you've already done it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You all are hyper aware of something. You are too strong. All of you. The conversation you would have had the night before, you're just noticing that Will's obviously got an element to him where he's aside from normal. He has the ability to like almost literally bifurcate an ogre with a single massive swing of a standard longsword. It's kind of crazy, but each of you have seen magics, and you've seen wizards cast fireballs. You've seen people contact people from across the land. It's insane. You've seen all these crazy things, but compared to how you were before you first went into the mist, you are all probably aware now, maybe a little bit, that you're stronger than you were, and a little OP. Honestly, I think you are noticing, and again, I don't want to lead your thoughts, and it's how you guys want to interpret it, and you don't have to, depending on how egotistical your character might be, I guess. But you certainly probably have a sense that each of you, maybe you don't notice it yourself. I think sometimes when we get stronger or we get, whatever, we grow, you don't always notice it. But I think the other 3 members in your party, you would notice that they're just doing stuff sometimes. You're like, wow, that's pretty crazy. Like, Fire is making shots that she was really good with, like a bow and arrow, but now she's making like insane shots sometimes, and you're like, wow, that is so accurate. And her fingers are not even like, she's not even maybe even pulling the bowstrings correctly. She's kind of half-assing shots, and they're better than you've ever noticed. Fix is summoning up spells so much quicker and enchanting so much faster. It's almost, you're not even having to think about it. Merlin is quite literally imbued with the power of the void and can boost and enhance all of his spells should he wish. Kind of comes with those same twisted wish rules though. But still, Merlin is pulling up these huge flames, and obviously Will is doing the things that Will does. And I think you probably would notice that you guys are stronger than you were, and you're not, no one's saying that you guys are superhuman or anything. You're still fighting with these dwarves, for example, and there are points where you get hit, you bleed, that kind of thing. You're not blurring around people at super speed and stuff like that, but you're just noticing that you're slightly quicker. Those dwarves that you guys took out, you might have had your asses handed to you the first time round, and that was more circumstantial than anything else. You were already exhausted. It was kind of a 1 versus 4 situation at first. They were so much more brutal than I think anyone was expecting from a simple bar fight, and that's one thing. But the most recent fight, you whipped the shit out of them, and it should not have really been that easy, even with the jump on them and that kind of thing. Those were a really tough set of men that would really kind of you know what, you wouldn't normally ever want to encounter them. Any of you before this would certainly have probably rather not ever have to deal with them under any circumstances. And honestly, you kind of whip the fuck out of them. And I don't know how much your characters interpret that, but you're certainly stronger and more capable. Now, I'm not saying you can wander into this forest and encounter an ancient gold dragon and you'll just fucking slap him and he'll walk away crying with his tail between his legs. But I will say that I think it's fair that you guys notice that you are stronger. Now, outside of this, mechanically, we know you're leveling up, but some of that is relative, and that's just kind of how I GM. It's not really always that you're clearly leveling up compared to everyone else in the world. A lot of the world is just relative to you as you level up. But I think in this instance, there's certainly a dissonance to that. And while you guys are growing stronger, you're starting to notice a slight, like, it's ridiculous. You've been on the road, I think, for a month together, and you are just obviously stronger. Some of you are concerned that you're going mad, and maybe that's just all it is. You're just crazy and you kind of like insanity drunk. But I will say that much. A kind of romp through this forest just isn't as intimidating as it should be for you, if you don't want it to be. That is what I will say.
The main takeaway from all this is that there's a gold dragon in the forest.
There's a gold dragon in the forest. That's all I heard. That's all I heard him say over and over the whole time.
I'll tell you this much. If there is a golden dragon in that forest, it is not a combat encounter. Unless you really want it to be, because you'd be in trouble.
That's even cooler.
But
a friendly
I think they live
dragon.
in water as well. Maybe I'm wrong, but
Well,
that could be traditional D&D stuff. I'll make up whatever I want. No, it's a forest of random encounters, and you guys have seen the level of random that can be, but it is certainly a forest of random encounters. But I think it's just a thing for you to consider in character, maybe. Usually a romp through this forest would seem crazy, but it's up to you whether you want to interpret the fact that you guys are certainly slightly stronger than you maybe should be. You might just notice it. This isn't a thing where Superman's discovering his powers and he crushes a can in his hand and he rips a car door off by accident, but I certainly think that you will notice after we've seen so much travel from you all, and we've fast forwarded through most of it, and we see that in a single dice roll, but you guys have spent days on the road and probably noticed that you can push yourselves an hour longer than you could and things like that. Not trying to influence you in any way, just letting you know. It's just
You've done that a lot today.
I know, but I think D&D parties spend a lot of time very scared of the unknown.
Yeah.
And I want you to know and justify in character somewhat that you're probably finding through this campaign that stuff is less scary, or maybe stuff that you would be scared of you're not scared of, aka a very rough, powerful dwarf who is, borderline an expert veteran warrior, and you kind of just wipe the floor with them in what was essentially an equal footing battle in the second round. So yeah, but you also kind of Fire, you had that one-on-one with the other elf, and in that you had the one-on-one with each other and probably noticed things like that as well. I think it makes sense for characters like you guys who would concentrate on things like your abilities and combat. You're all trained in one way or another, whether it be spells or swords and shields and things. So you certainly, I think, would notice those things. You're almost like competitively good at these things. So I just want to give you some context, and this is DM to players. Players are always way more shit scared than they need to be, but also this is a fucked setting and everything's fucking scary, and I don't know whether you will encounter an ancient golden dragon in there, because it is random dice rolls, and I have a big random table of things.
Do we feel lucky?
But what I mean to say, I think, is at this point nothing is impossible for you lot. Also, Will almost quite literally has the ability to summon up wishes, which is pretty insane. And if he wanted to just blow 10 sanity points, he could be like, what way's the way out? And, if he wanted to do stuff like that, he could do that too. Hey, maybe even the rest of you could. Or maybe it would be absolutely ridiculous to try. Who knows? Just going to bring some more fear back in for you. So, as you guys are heading out of the town here of Dandelo, passing through all of these merchants, more of these guys that rush up to you and try and sell you things, seeing that you're like outlanders. You are discussing the possibilities. You can make a shortcut to Kira. You can make a straight up shortcut straight through the forest to Gafreda. Very much uncharted territory to Gafreda through that forest. It's just kind of pointless, I think, for a lot of people. But rangers and druids and people more akin to that kind of thing, which maybe you could say Merlin and Fire have some expertise in. I won't give you any mechanical expertise, but there might be times that you can justify to leverage that. You guys are from a forest. I don't think rangers would be petrified. It's not like a haunted, demonic, evil forest necessarily, even though they all kind of are. That's it. That's my context for you. What are you doing? What's the plan?
I'm realizing quickly that maybe I should be more scared than I am instead of just running into everything.
I'm not saying you guys are invulnerable or anything like that, but I think this would seem like a crazy idea a month ago. But now, with that gamble, maybe is less of a gamble. I don't know.
Well, I think it's a no-brainer that we take the desert shortcut back, because last time we took the long way around. But this time going into it, we're all rested, full up, fresh, and even if there is a fight or a danger of some sort here in the desert, we're equipped to handle it now. So I'd say we push through we take the Twin Rock shortcut at the very least, and then from there we could decide whether to go north to Kira or take a shortcut, or even we could even follow the river on the south side to Gurfreda and not have to follow this road all the way up here out of the way. But we could decide that when we get there. I'd say we start by just getting through this rock shortcut.
Let's get to the forest.
Okay. Yeah.
So northeast through this pass to the road here, I suppose.
Yeah, Twin Rock, shortcut off through this wasteland. Maybe we see one of you like grab somebody aside and ask them if they have any idea of that shortcut through Twin Rock. They give you a couple of weird landmarks and essentially point you in the direction, telling you to essentially head somewhat northeast. Once you find those Twin Rocks, you'll have a straight shot over towards where the road is, as long as you continue in the right direction. So you guys will head out of town then in this direction up towards the Twin Rock, and another day of travel begins. Rest this time, food in belly, brains in belly, and you will need to roll me some checks, of course. So Merlin first, I'm assuming, is going to be foraging for things and stuff.
Yes.
And is anyone else specializing in any particular thing on the way out here? And we'll roll dependent on that.
I want to make sure that we're not being followed by anyone trying to retaliate for the dwarf thing.
Okay, that's a scouting roll, but don't do it yet.
I will probably focus on navigation as usual to make sure we don't get lost, ? Unless we don't need to do that here because it's all wide open.
You have to do it way more than if you were on a road. It's much easier to get lost because you're kind of just heading into a wasteland. And while on the map here it looks like a short amount, when you're down on the ground, and especially since you only have 2 hours of daylight, eventually you are just going to be in just a flat plain of what feels like desert.
Okay,
I will help Will with that.
Yeah, we don't want to get lost in a desert, so I'm going to focus on finding that Twin Rock landmark to make sure we don't get off course.
All right.
And Vita would be scouting ahead for trouble.
Okay, so perception from Vita and Fix, and then survival from everyone else, please, as you head out into the
Not looking good. It ain't
Bye.
It's not looking good, gang.
This was fun, guys.
Wow, is that complete fail?
Oh my god.
Every time.
Is that an absolute party fail?
Yeah.
Brad, have
die.
some confidence in yourselves, the party.
The party.
Brad, you're the one who just gave us the whole
Sandworms?
speech about going to the desert and going to
No,
the
you're
woods
right,
and fight
you're right.
everything. You're so OP.
Swallowed by sandworms.
I'm sorry. I am going.
And then we all die.
I am very.
You did this.
Yeah, there is absolutely no way you're not going to run into something. I'm just not even going to roll for it. Let's just, that is so epic, that failure from everyone. Everyone fails on all those things, but obviously you don't know this in character. You kind of head, out.
I think we're doing great.
Head on out into this desert. So
We're feeling very inspired for some reason.
see here how badly this goes. It takes
Listen to some nice music in the tavern.
It takes several hours as you head in what is probably the correct direction during the daylight hours here. But as the sun begins to set, it becomes a little more difficult for you to navigate in the correct directions. It's also just very difficult to move across this terrain. Even when you were probably coming into town with the road, this is just uncomfortable. Everything here is uncomfortable. The wind constantly kicks up sand and dirt and little stones into your face, scratching your skin. The ground is so uneven, in places giving way to just soft earth that makes your feet stick. It is pretty much just a flat plain. We're not even talking minor hills. Eventually you walk out onto what feels just like almost like a salt flat, just this open, wide expanse. And then the sun fully sets, the moon starts to rise, giving you an idea of your direction, but you're having to constantly just drag yourselves forward. Let's have, who would be the furthest ahead that isn't Vita, because that isn't Vita.
I think it was just me and Fire kind of collectively trying to navigate and both failing.
All right, both of you roll me a d20. Lowest number is the least lucky.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Wow.
Oh my god.
The odds of
Am I feeling okay?
Well,
I'm gonna roll my own. If this is under a 10,
maybe we both take half the damage or whatever.
Yeah.
if this is under a 10, you both suffer the consequences of the thing.
No.
If not, it is not. Okay, roll again. Both of you roll again. Only one of you suffer the thing. Fire, roll me a dexterity saving throw.
Oh, thank goodness.
It's Tremors!
Kinda is Tremors.
It's a dex save. You'll be fine.
You are walking forwards. All of you are moving forward. You're maybe spread out a little. Fire naturally taking the lead, the scouting position, moving a little further ahead, outside of your dark vision for the most part. Every now and then you catch a glimpse of her moving. Every now and then she reports back. Fire, however, at one point, you are moving across this horrible wasteland, this kind of desert, these salty sand stuff underfoot, when there is something underfoot that gives way. You probably don't even see it. There is just an enormous hole in the ground that comes up underneath you as you're moving along, and you put one foot down and it goes a little too far before your natural instinct to dodge back kicks in. There is a chittering sound and and from underneath you, coming up out of this enormous hole in this wasteland, is a giant ant. And,
fuck you. It's an antlion.
It is not an antlion, but I wish it was.
No.
Let's see where you would be. You would be here. Will put there. Merlin, Vix, and Vita will put here. I'm going to bring you over to this battle map, and you can fight 5 giant ants. Everyone roll me some initiative, please.
Oh my god. I don't like where I am.
Fire, you are engaged with one, but you are a rogue, so... probably a good thing that Will didn't do this, by the way, because you might have fallen in. Let's...
yeah, as soon as you said dex save, I was like, this sounds like a job for anyone else.
Yep. So, I will roll for these guys, and I'm going to give them colors each. Now, I rolled for this random encounter for you on the break, rather than doing it the other way around, just so you know.
So that whole speech was just bait.
No, it was purely just if you failed your stuff spectacularly. Normally, I would have you roll almost all of this stuff yourself, but I thought we're kind of running a little short on time. I will do some of it for you, and you roll.
Thank you.
For a combat encounter with 5 giant ants. They will go on initiative 10. Which means, Fire, as you look down and realize, and your dark vision kicks in, and you see this huge hole in the ground in front of you in this desert. These huge segmented legs, this massive segmented body, these antennae come up. Maybe one of them runs across your leg as these enormous giant ants begin to move up, just naturally moving towards a thing that's moving around near their little base, their little hive here. This thick chitin all over their bodies. Serrated mandibles snap at you as they move up out of this thing. Climbing up the walls of the other sides of the hole here, you see 4 more of them. We can assume you shout this back to the others and take a kind of
giant ants
offensive position, and it is your turn first. What do you do?
Me?
Yes.
Oh, I'm gonna disengage. And I'm gonna run. I'm gonna go 30 feet back there.
All right.
Just to get away from the hole.
Will, do you have
And,
disadvantage on initiative? Am I crazy?
That is with the disadvantage. I still gotta say, I rolled a 16 and a 20.
Okay. Yep. Just trying to remember my campaigns.
Yeah, you actually set it to auto roll it.
Oh
so
yeah, I
it
remember.
rolled-
Yeah,
it
yeah,
rolled
yeah.
both.
Sick.
So
Man.
the
Good
number
job,
turns
Pants Brad.
green.
I love that guy, dude. I swear.
The number is
is,
green because it saw the 20, but it lowered it to the correct number, so a 17 is accurate.
Yeah, I love me not on 3 hours sleep like today. So, you roll out the way. Did you say you're firing a weapon?
And I use my bonus action to disengage, and then I use my movement. So yeah, I'm gonna shoot my short bow.
Yep.
Sorry, not to be that guy. Just for clarification, did we skip like the first 4 turns in the turn order for this?
No.
Because I see.
Oh, I
'cause
read.
see-
I fucking. That is why you asked whether it was the thing, and this is also why
Okay,
I made a
hold on.
rule
Whoop.
3 years ago never to have
2 people with the same.
2 people with
here
the
we
same
are.
fucking letter.
All right,
Yeah,
The
so
end.
I do
why
nothing.
wanted to-
The M's of the
Sorry,
world.
that's why I wanted to stop
Never
this.
allow
I
it.
was-
If they
I was
have
trying
the
to stop
same
them
letter
before
at the
Fire
beginning
did
of
the
their
whole turn.
name, make them change it forever.
Time.
That's all it
goes
takes.
backwards.
You have 2
I
of
run-
the same letters.
Yeah.
Probably.
I
yeah.
moonwalk back to where I was.
Right.
Yeah.
Sorry, fix.
And I
thought
say
it was just
giant
some
ants in
DM
reverse.
bullshit.
no,
so
no,
I
no,
was
no,
like,
no.
okay.
Yeah. There's
Yeah, I was like, oh,
absolutely
die.
question me on that shit.
Okay. Alright.
If this is a random encounter, yeah, this is not something where I set up a fucking shadow demon that's going to come out and deliver a bunch of serious lore drops on you. These are just 5 ants that are hungry. What do you do, Fix? She shouts. You see them. I would say that really you can only see this first one here.
Yep.
But she
That's
does
fine
say
with
ants
me.
plural, as this one crests the top of the underground hole hive thing that they have. Is that what ants live in? What do they live in? Ant hills? Well, this is a hole.
Anthills?
This is an
Anthills.
ant hole.
It's an
An
inverted
anthill.
anthill.
There's something else down there that they live
Yeah,
in.
like little colonies.
Yeah, I don't know. I made the map as a random map, and then the animals that lived in it was also random. So, welcome to. There's probably a huge warren of shit underneath where you're standing right now.
Oh,
Well,
No.
No.
No, no, no.
No? Okay,
Let's-
well,
let's
done
not
enough.
get-
almost
no.
definitely
done
what's
enough.
happening. So, Fix, what would you like to do?
I immediately cast Hex with my right hand towards the red ant, and then fire 2 Eldritch Blasts. You hear that that deep ice cracking sound come from my arm as 2 blasts just shoot out and whistle past between Will and Fire, just right past your ear. So, let's see if they do anything.
What are you hexing? You have to pick a tribute.
Yeah. Constitution.
Okay.
I'm going something wild this time. It's 11 and a 15.
An 11 and a 15. The 15 hits. I think
8
the 11
force
hits
damage?
as well, but you see it hit the chitin on this thing, and you realize that these, like, they're basically wearing plate armor, you know, like, not really, but they're wearing thick. They're the hard part of the ant. The chitin is a very, very thick looking shell, and you deal 8 force damage and 4 necrotic damage, 12 damage in total. Yeah, I think fire, like, this thing appears, you see it suddenly hit by that force damage, you recognize the sound and the effect of one of Fix's Eldritch Blasts striking this creature. The other one hits it but doesn't really seem to affect it too much. What else do you want to do, Fix? You have movement, really.
Yep. And I'm gonna move just in front of Merlin, behind Will here.
Okay. Will's turn.
Okay. The ground right next to where fire is standing. Is this spot stable looking? Like, can I stand there?
Stable enough, yeah. We'll say. You get the idea that if Fix hit it with like a Eldritch Blast, it'd probably give way, but it's stable enough certainly that you can stand on right now.
Okay. I'll move a little closer because I probably can't see it from where I'm standing. So I'll move up.
You won't
here.
step on it and fall in. I'll say that much. But if you
Okay.
you hit
How
the
deep
ground.
is this hole?
Give me a investigation. No, give me a perception check. No, give me an
'Cause I'm
investigation
just-
check. And what is your maximum range of dark vision? Are you 60?
It's a 60-footer, dark vision, 17 on the investigation roll.
Right. So, this is a 30-foot hole. At the very
Okay.
bottom of it, you can see a bunch of sand, and like that's where the anthill is. It down in this thing with a bunch of little holes and sticks and things. Probably covered in like eggs. Just horrible eggs all over it.
Oh, I'm going to observe a couple of things here. Number one, they're conveniently in a nice little fireball pattern, so I don't want to be in the middle of it.
You're welcome.
Well, you already know what I'm gonna do.
But also, I'm kind of like, I don't want to see somebody get dragged over the edge and eaten, so I'm actually going to spend my turn grabbing fire and pulling her away from the edge before she gets swarmed.
Okay.
Because we don't need that in our lives. So I don't know if it takes my action to do it or whatever, but I'm
I think
grabbing
if she's
fire.
being willingly moved, you can move the rest
Yeah,
of
I
your
ragdoll.
movement.
As soon as you try to grab me, I let it happen.
She just goes limp. Okay.
Yeah,
Yep.
you can move half of the remaining movement you have backwards.
Okay, so I took 10, 5. So that means I have 1 space. So yeah, I'll step back to... I can't get any further back because I'm only moving half speed. So where I'm currently standing, and I'll throw her behind me here. So, like right here.
Okay. Fire, you can place yourself in the correct, appropriate
There we go.
angle.
And that'll be... Can I still take an action, or is that my action?
That would be your action because you.
Okay,
it's
that's
kinda like
fine.
a grapple
Yeah,
thing.
I'll end my turn there. I just don't want her getting pulled in and then making this more complicated and end my turn.
All right, Merlin.
Thank you.
All right. Well, Marlin sees Will pulling fire out of that, and he immediately, assumes they're on the same page, and immediately casts fireball into the pit.
Give me the fireball roll. That is sword sound. DC 16 dex save. This is my fireball sound.
Merlin tosses up
There
a
we go.
fireball, and Will hits it with his sword.
I think it's my booming.
May-
my Typho
Chrono
Veritas.
trigger time.
Yes.
In a
Blame
Kamehameha-like
sound.
position, he's casting fireball, and it grows so big enough, he has to eventually lift it up, and then he throws it like a volleyball.
Like a fucking spirit bomb. Yes, let me make some saves for you. Dex saves. Got a bit of 16. I'm going to go from red and then go around clockwise. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wow. What's the number they have to beat?
Delicious.
What's the DC? 16.
16.
So one makes it, which is the orange, and the rest of them take 28 fire damage. There's probably just an absolute set of screeching as this fireball goes off. The creatures are all freaking out. The ants go mad. You probably explode and cook up a bunch of those eggs as well. And they take, sorry, what was it? 28. So 28 on this guy. 28.
You just did 126 damage in one moment.
28 on this guy. 28 on this guy. And then half damage. So 14 to the one that is, that has the orange blip thing dot. And yeah, it's pretty crazy. I think Will runs forward, grabs fire, you move backwards, and then the thing lights up. There's an explosive heat that washes across everybody. These creatures screech. There's a smell of burning hair, and these things smoldering and injured and kind of hurt rush up the sides of this thing. None of them are dead, but all of them were hit and injured. You want to do anything else, Merlin? You can still move and bonus actions and things.
I think I'll remain where I am, so I'll end my turn.
Here come the ants. Now, what do you have? They are
They're all on fire.
a bunch of
Here come the
flaming
ants.
giant ants that are like the size of ponies. I'm running
Oh my
at
god.
you.
They're fire ants.
They're
Yeah.
now fire ants. Yeah, kinda. I guess they will move towards the first thing they see, unfortunately. Welcome to being the tank. One going there. Can this one... So I'm going to say they're 10 feet down. 10 feet up, and then another 25 over to you. This one can get here. This one can do his 10 feet. And...
It's okay, I chose this life.
I think he can make it. I'm going to move him up to where you are. But this one actually can't do anything. This one can come up and make it around to you. This one can get to you. I'm going to move, just for the sake of it, these two here. And then this one, I'm going to move to here. Oh, actually, he can probably just move his double, actually. So I'll rush him past you. This one comes rushing past where you are, but it can't attack. Only 3 of them can attack you. Here, let's determine...
I have a question, Brad.
Yeah.
Can I use my skirmisher now?
What is that?
I can move up to half my speed as a reaction when an enemy ends its turn. Oh, ends its turn, never mind, within 5 feet of you. So if any of them end their turn here, I can use half my movement as a reaction to move without opportunity attacks.
Ooh. Well, yep, you can do it after
It's
this.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. First, them's gonna start biting. 2 towards Will, 1 towards you. The first 2 towards Will. Is this button working? It is not. Hello. That one? There we go. 1, 2 towards Will. A 7 and a 23.
The 23 will... Actually, no, I'm gonna reaction cast shield. Screw this. I'm not gonna start getting bit right away. Yeah, I will react by putting up an arcane shield.
Okay, another bite coming in towards you, Fire, as Will puts up this kind of arcane shield. You see these things bite towards him, and then this shield appears around him as these creatures are hitting that thing, too dumb to know what's going on. Horrible mandibles snapping near you. You probably move a leg out of the way as these mandibles come in, closing like a bear trap around you. And then they're going to start trying to sting at you. I guess they have stingers as well, which is awesome for you to know. Oh yes, they do have stingers on their tails, the size of a short sword that comes spinning around. So these things swarm over towards you. Mandibles and stingers. 2 sting attacks towards you, Will, and then 1 towards you again, Fire. 1, 2, an 18 and a 17. You still have the shield up, so they kind of just bounce off of this thing. And then 1 towards Fire on a 14.
Nope.
just avoiding this whole thing. Exactly like I said, nothing to be afraid of. These things would
I'm just
tear a
dancing
normal
around.
man alive within seconds. And you two, shield comes up, fire jumps, dances, spins around this this stinger, these mandibles, and then that is the end of their turn. So you can do your skirmishing, and you just do all this dancing and jumping and flipping, and before you know it, you've moved out of the way. Will, however, is kind of lost amongst 5 of these giant ants rushing over and around him like a bunch of little horses, and it is Fire's turn.
Okay. I'm going to sneak attack the red boy with my Can I do sharpshooter and sneak attack?
Sneak attack is just additional to the thing. So you do your attack roll first, and then you add sneak attack if applicable. So it's just damage additional shit.
13.
13 sticks into the chitin, but just does not affect this thing whatsoever. It's technically a miss, as the arrow just buries itself into the armor plating on the back of this thing.
I will then just move back a little bit in front to the side of Merlin.
Okay. Brings us to Vita.
Cool. Vita will.
Flame on.
Yeah. They were already in flame form anyway for scouting ahead. They're gonna use claw attack on the red one.
Okay. Flying Prince of Fire moves forward to this elemental creature and swings a little claw at the back of this thing. Same thing, I think. It just hits this. It's like hitting Will's armor. This just strikes the back of this chitin, and while you see it burns some of the chitin to a degree, and it certainly damages it, it's certainly not doing any sort of actual damage to the ant.
And it's doing it in as flashy a way as possible. It's like spinning, trying to like divert some of the attention off of Will, I suppose, and like be as noticeable as possible.
Yeah, I
idea.
think it probably does draw some attention to itself. I'll roll 2 dice for this ant and this ant, the 2 that are next to it. The red one certainly takes a liking to Vita. And is that the end of your turn? Or Vita's turn?
That's the end of Vita's turn,
Brings it
yep.
to Fix's turn, though.
And Fix will fire 2 more Eldritch Blasts, the same one, in unison.
Okay.
23
gonna hit.
and 13.
Okay, 13's gonna hit. No, it isn't.
Ooh.
Sorry, I
Oh,
lied. This
damn
23
you.
does hit. Give me the damage. 13.
13 damage and 1 necrotic.
How do you kill the red fire ant? Giant ant, sorry.
The Eldritch Blast, the first one kind of actually sweeps under its feet and knocks it off balance sideways, and the second one kind of like travels up through its like chitinous exterior and just like tunnels through and out the other side and just kind of
Yeah, this
Flies
huge
everywhere.
thing kind of hits the ground next to you, partly curling into its own shell, Will. As you see, one of them kind of hit the ground. It's a large thud, as this thing is pretty big, and clearly has been felled by one of your comrades here. And is that the end of your turn, Fix?
I will move forward to here. Yep, and that's the end of my turn.
Okay. Will, your turn.
All right, I will look down at the red one and be like, "Whew, okay, all right, I thought I was about to get fireballed." And then I will hit the green one. I will swing at it with Booming Blade.
Okay. Now I can do my booming blade sound effect.
And I will whiff horribly.
Well, I think, I think this thing is like they are moving around you. You're kind of having to partially keep an eye on the fact that they're moving. It's like kind of a scene where we probably see you with shield in hand, sword in the other, and you're watching them as they move around in a kind of circular motion. You swing wildly at one of them, but it turns and shifts itself awkwardly to get out of the way of what it probably presumes to be your stinger. And is that the end of your turn?
That is the classic. I should have just taken the dodge action maneuver, and then I will mark a target. I'll mark the orange one. I'll use mark target.
Okay, what does that do?
Let me post the. Well, it's not going to do anything this turn. I'll post the whole text. I need to set this up so you can actually just read the.
Oh, you're
whole
doing the
text. I don't have
classic
it
mark
programmed
target thing? I thought this was an ability. Mark target is an action, isn't it?
in. No, it's a bonus action.
You sure?
It's the reskinned Hexblade's curse. Is all it is.
Oh, so it is one of your things.
Yes.
Okay. Mark target is a move in the actual.
Oh, is it like a different class has that now? That's neat.
It's just an
Maybe I should
OG
rename it.
thing. There's a thing called mark target. Hang on, I can just open my little cheat sheet up. When
Like
you make a
an- like
melee
an
attack,
older
you can
edition?
choose to mark your target until the end of your next turn. One opportunity attack you make against your target has advantage without using a reaction. So kind of you can do it. It's just a thing that has always existed, I think, since time began. 5e began. Maybe I'm wrong. But I have always had it written down in this little cheat sheet thing that I was given as a little fledgling DM way back when. They said, here's a cheat sheet for all of the things you can do on your turn as an action. And I said, thank
Aw.
you, my DM of the time. And he faded away into the night. That's how
Into
all
the
DMs
mist.
are made.
Yeah. He gave you his power.
We
became-
absorb
Pass-
older DMs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He became Batman and just
Yeah,
faded
that's
into the
where they
night.
go.
I think that was 3.5 though, so I don't know if I can actually do that here. Regardless, that's not the ability that I'm using though. That's
Yep,
good to know for
okay.
future reference. So I end my turn.
Yeah. It's Merlin's turn.
All right, I'm going to use Scorching Ray on the blue, green, and purple one.
Okay,
So
yeah.
here
Give me the attacks
I
in
go.
order. 17 hits. 19 hits. And 17 hits. So blue
Yay.
takes 3 damage. Green takes 6 damage. And did you say... Which was the third one? Sorry, blue.
Purple. So purple, blue, and green. Yeah, so purple I think takes the last. Yeah, 8.
Oh, I see. Okay, hang on. So... That goes like that, and that goes like that. Might have fucked that up. But,
Oh, either way, it's okay.
that's the power of magic. Yes, all of these scorching rays fly through the air in the darkness like tracer bullets as they strike the backs of these creatures, hitting softer points in between the chitin and dealing the appropriate amount of damage to each. They're all kind of looking burnt up and messed up, but it's probably quite hard to tell how badly injured they are. But that certainly hurts. You doing anything else?
No, that's it.
All right. Giant ants. One of them, the red one was looking at Vita here. I'm gonna roll to see if moving fix draws the attention of this other one here. Fix, roll me a d20.
It's a 15.
A 15. It doesn't. So this one is going to attack Will. In fact, they're all going to attack Will. So I'm just going to roll a shit ton of dice.
Tried.
Here we
Here
are
we go.
again. Here we are again.
Knew I should have dodged.
Been here many times. So this is going to be 4 bite attacks from the ants. There we go. 16, 8, 6, 21. Probably only the 21 has any hope.
Yeah, but I know there's stingers coming after this too, right? I'm gonna shield again.
Yeah, another magical shield around Will as these things kind of swarm him, avoiding his own attacks and kind of going for him. But then this magical shield comes up, and then during probably the same flurry and madness as the sand is kicking up around him, there's a bunch of stingers aiming at you as well. So I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4. Is that 4?
That's 3.
3 and 4. So yeah, another set of misses as they just strike this arcane shield that you've brought up around yourself. These things kicking up a load of dust, chittering, snapping their mandibles, stinging at towards the area where Will is, but none of them connecting due to the shield. Therefore, Fire, it is your turn.
Do not snap your mandibles at me ever again.
My apologies.
I'm going to shoot the purple guy.
Boink.
Oh,
Wow, same
gosh.
thing. You
Can you give me the speech again?
you
About how good I am?
are unbelievably good at firing
Thank
arrows,
you.
and you are hitting the target here. But maybe you just have
Yeah.
no idea what part is the soft part and what part is the chitin. It's probably more about I was trying to do a pun. Anatomy is where I was trying to go with that, but I've had to.
Anatomy.
See, it's harder than it should be, right?
Anatomy.
And the arrow
Anatomy.
hits. I haven't had enough sleep. Arrow hits the chitin, and yeah, you're also these things are moving and moving. They're like literally little ponies running around.
Yeah.
Will as you do successfully hit the target, but don't do anything. They're not little.
I hate everything about this, and that's it.
Vita's turn.
Having seen you miss, I'm gonna point towards the blue giant ant, and Vita's gonna rush towards it and take the help action, and they're gonna basically like rush around the soft spots that they can see to try and help give you an advantage when
Oh.
you fire at them next.
Right,
Yeah.
so that's the next attack, which I think is
Yeah,
for you.
it gets advantage. I think it's the next attack on that creature.
Right, okay, I see, yeah. So
Yeah.
whoever attacks the blue creature next will have advantage on that attack.
Yeah.
But it is your turn now.
Yes, and I will fire 2 Eldritch Blasts at the purple one. Well, it gets hexed first because the red one died, so that one gets hexed now. And Eldritch Blast. Because this is Warlock combat. Yay!
17 hits. And 11 misses. Sorry, which one were you hitting? Purple? Did I hit
Yes,
purple?
purple. For 13 damage total.
13 damage on that one. Yeah, this strikes the creature. It's probably like in the midst of going to bite at will when it gets hit from the side by this force damage, and the thing is not dead though.
Seeing Will fend off all their attacks and knowing that I am rather not able to fend off the attacks, I will stay put for now.
Right. Will's turn.
I should dodge, but it's more fun to swing. So I'm going to swing at the orange one again because I'm mad at it because I missed it the first time with another booming blade. Hold still. And there we go, a 26.
Absolutely gonna hit. Yes. Which one were you aiming for? Sorry.
The orange one.
Okay.
Oh, also, here's the... I actually did have it set up. I just lost track of it in all the other junk on my character sheet, but there's the text of the skill that I was actually trying to use to avoid confusion there.
All right. Which one was your mark target? The orange one.
The orange one, yes.
All right.
So it is 10 slashing, 6 thunder, and then 3 more slashing. 19 total. It's the damage inflicted.
Okay, now this one is the one that took the least amount of damage from the fireball. But I think you probably just lob off 2 legs immediately, just swinging around this thing. The booming blade goes off, and this thing just loses 2 legs. They're just on the ground as it kind of stumbles suddenly, trying to adjust itself under its weight, losing 2 of these legs. Picks itself back up on the remaining leg on that side, but is wreathed in that kind of purple energy or whatever it is for you. The booming blade, if it moves, it will take additional damage, and that's all that mark target does. Does it stay on it? What does that do? Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a continue. It's similar to Fix's Hex,
Right.
or a Hunter's Mark. It'll just keep going.
And yep. Bonus
And
action?
yeah,
Is that it?
I will end my turn, and I'll turn back to Merlin and say, "See that, Merlin? Shove that one," and then end my turn.
Got it.
All right, Merlin.
Because Will is not looking very concerned about this fight, so he's using it as a teamwork.
Wait, which
It's a
one am I
training-
pushing
it's-
again?
It's now a Merlin training exercise.
Oh no,
I think you're pushing the orange one, yeah?
orange one.
you point
Okay.
You will be
Um,
tested at the end.
Yeah, you will be
Okay.
tested at the end of this.
Oh boy. Can I use Scorching Ray again on the blue purple and green one again before I push?
Yep.
Okay, right.
If you use it on the blue one, then Fire won't get advantage on her next shot.
Oh. Okay,
You
good thing
will
you
get
pointed that out.
advantage on this strike.
Yeah, you'll get an advantage.
Oh, okay, I don't want to take that advantage then from... Okay, you know what? I will blast the orange one before I push it off.
Okay, so purple, green,
be-
orange.
Yeah, I'll be extra bully.
19 hits. 18 hits
There
and
we-
25 hits. They all hit. The first thing that happens is you kill the purple one. How do you do it? What does it look like?
I was gonna say almost like a magnifying glass, like blast, and then just setting it ablaze. But that I don't know. I don't want to be like an ant bully or anything like that. Maybe I went
We're
too
the
far with
grasshoppers
that.
in A Bug's Life.
Oh no!
It happens. His
God.
head explodes on fire.
Oh no!
And yeah, the other two scorching rays launch past the one whose head explodes as it hits the ground and strike the other two. You deal all of the damage, but the other two remain standing. Magnifying glass.
And now I push the
Give me
orange
the
one.
blurb on that telekinesis push again.
Yeah, sure, I'll do that.
I can't remember. I feel like we've been through this before, but it is literally, there is no size limit to this. Is that right? As a bonus action, you can try to telekinetically shove one creature you can see within 30 feet of you. So you're going to have to move up 10 feet.
Okay, I will do that then. I'll move a little. Just
This
a
is
little
mental that
closer.
you literally can shove. You could shove a Tarask if you successfully manage
Oh.
to do so. It's insane. Usually, like things like this, I know this is magic, which is probably why, but they normally have like a limit onto like usually like 2 sizes bigger than you or something like that. So it is a strength saving throw of DC 8 plus your bonus and the ability modifier of the score increased by this feat, which is
It's going to be the same as Merlin's other DCs, so it should
yeah,
be 16, right?
16, isn't it? All right.
Yep, it's
Strength
16.
save. 18 does not move. This thing
Oh,
is big and strong and holds fast to the edge of this thing, even though it is missing 2 of its many legs.
I'm just gonna tell Will, I tried to push it, but he refuses to
It's
move.
fine. Don't worry about it.
I'll get him next time.
Here they come. It's the ants. Many bites towards you, Will, and oh yeah, I'm gonna roll to see if it does not see Vita at all. It doesn't care about Vita for some reason. So many bites towards Will. 1, 2, 3. 7, 20, 18. On the attack rolls against your AC, Will. I can't remember what it is. I know I gave you the armor like 2 weeks ago, but I've forgotten. Will, what is your AC, Will?
Oh, sorry. My AC is 20.
20?
I
Alright,
get
one of them is
bit?
going to hit unless you want to do a thing.
I'll just let this one hit me. I don't want to burn all my spell slots just blocking bites.
Alright, you are grappled. This
Mistakes
is...
were made!
I'm sorry. You take 6 bludgeoning damage apparently from this bite, and you are grappled until the grapple ends. You are restrained inside this thing's mandible. So actually, this thing the reason I guess it does bludgeoning damage is it just grabs your armor. And it holds you in place. Suddenly, this one kind of digging its legs in and biting the Will. This is the green one that has done this to you. I think. Wait, hang on. It was the second one. It's the orange one. It's your worst enemy. Can he do this? Do you have any bullshit? I don't think so. Mark target doesn't give you anything against this. No.
No, it doesn't defend me in any way. Now I'm just glad that I've blocked the first couple, because if I were restrained at the beginning of the fight, this would really suck. I'd have gotten hit 6 times by now.
Yeah, let's so does restrain give me any sort of attack bonuses against
Yeah, you have advantage on the follow-ups now.
Let's work out this then, because actually I don't have advantage on the first one, because this would have come in. I was just doing the bites and then the stings, so the first sting does not have advantage. Rolling without advantage at 20. Do you have the ability to stop a
Yeah,
20
well,
from hitting you.
seeing how this is about to go horribly wrong, I will go ahead and shield myself before this gets any worse.
And then
Yeah, okay, shield again.
12 and an 18. So, well, a 21 and a 14. But yeah, we'll say you are still grappled, although the time might be a little wibbly wobbly there. I don't care. You're still grappled. You still take the 6 bludgeoning, but also all the others hit magic shield that comes up during some of this chaos. And the orange one here is biting at will for anyone who's thinking about pushing it off the edge. Just so you know. And that brings us to the end of their turns, and it is Fire's turn.
Okay. Seeing that Will is in trouble, I would like to... if I don't hit the blue, is it just the next attack on blue? So...
Well, it's
Somebody
Vita's
will-
turn next, so it will be
Yeah, he'd have to redo
a
the
wasted
thing.
action. Yeah. But if
Use
you
it or
just
lose
do
it.
what you want to do, don't worry about that.
Yeah, I think, I'll just go, sorry, maybe next time, and, take a short bow shot at the soft part of the ant that has Will in its mouth hole. Mandible. 21!
Is a hit. And this arrow just flies straight through the eye of this ant, and it lets go of Will as it dies. You killed this
You're welcome.
one. We'll say it falls off the edge for fun. Crashes into the ant hill, which is in the hole. The ant hill in the hole.
Yep.
Kind of probably smoldering a little bit still from some of the burning. And that one is dead. 2 left. Is that the end of your turn, Fire?
Could I run up and do an offhand attack on the green one?
Yes, you may.
How do the corpse spaces work?
You can stand on the dead and areas.
Okay, yeah, I'll do that. And then offhand dagger. Oh,
Wow, that is a natural 28 with a lot of damage. Is it enough?
3, 10, 21.
Yeah, how do you kill this next one? You just killed them both.
Nice.
I saw that the eye seemed to be a good spot, and so I just walk up and just stab this
Stab it
thing in the eye.
And yeah, it lets out a screech and kind of just falls where it is stood as you whip this dagger back out of the face of this ant, and it is Vita's turn.
Vita will continue to take the help action.
Okay, you have advantage on whatever you do next.
Yep. And then this one is now hexed for strength in case it gets any funny ideas about grappling.
Yeah.
And it will get blasted in the face, hopefully twice. So I'll roll the first one with advantage. The 23
He's gonna hit.
and 24.
Yeah. Can you do
15.
16 damage? No.
15 plus 5, 20.
Oh,
damage.
you got the extra. Yeah, you kill it. How do you
Yeah.
kill it?
I think for this one, seeing Fire run up and stab this other ant in the eye, I just aim at like both its eyes just in quick succession, just like, and the blast just not only goes into the eye, it just goes all the way out the other side, so it's just tunneled through this ant. It's disgusting.
Nice. Yes. You successfully kill all of these ants. You also destroyed a lot of the eggs. Not that it matters, but you did. And the ants have fallen. Now I'm going to roll 1 dice real quick. I'm going to quickly scroll to the part of the thing that I was meaning to find the entire fight and completely forgot about and didn't go to it. And then I will need a roll from you, Will, just to see how badly lost you are, because it may affect whether this has ended combat or not. Roll me a D12.
Roll a d12. Okay.
Yeah.
A 12. A natural 12.
Oh yeah, you good. You successfully kill these ants. You find that you're looking around. You're trying to find the location of the twin rocks. And once you kind of take your breath and you kick some of these ants away from you and check your armor over where the mandibles were biting you, you look up at where the moon is, and you get the feeling that maybe you guys got a little off track while you were moving what was hopefully northeast. This is a good point for you to stop, look around, take stock, and realize that, in fact, you are a little lost, a little off course, and we'll find out how you deal with that next week, because that is the end of today's session of Mistlight as we come to midnight for me, my bedtime. Thanks so much for playing, players, and thanks so much for watching, watchers. You will be pleased to know one thing that I forgot last time we played. You leveled up. You actually leveled up after the Kor Sheldi fight, and I completely forgot, and I was like, oh, I'll tell him next time.
I bit my tongue to resist the urge to pester you, because I was thinking it's about time to level up.
So leveled up, and completely forgot. But yes, before next session, make sure you level up. But during your level up, you don't regain your HP here. But if you want to roll your hit dice now, to determine how much HP you get.
Oh gosh, my body is ready. This is a huge one for me.
There we go.
Damn it!
Wow.
Get access to all
Free
my
for
goodies.
fix.
It's about time.
The worst increase you can get. Maximum for fire on a 9. 5
Wow.
for Merlin. Increase
nice.
your maximum.
I'm just taking average, which is 9.
All right. And you have leveled up to... This is level 6. Right?
Yes.
Yes.
Level 6. Accumulated.
Ooh.
We'll deal with all the level up stuff later on or during the week. But until next time, let's do a quick round of shout outs to see who you are, where you are on the internet, and what you do. Let's start with Merlin.
Oh, hello. I'm DispyRx, and I played Merlin for you today. You can find me here, Twitch and Twitter at DispyRx. I play variety and do some roleplay stuff on the side as well. Yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys, and thank you so much for the session, everyone.
Thanks,
It was good
Disby.
fun.
What about you, Fire?
You can find me at Brutal Bree. I'm streaming basically every night now, starting at 6 p.m. Eastern, and I've been doing Red Dead RP on Wild RP nonstop. It's ridiculous.
Okay. Sorry, I was just calculating how badly lost you were after that. And I'll do it later on. It's just that sometimes I get worried. DMs out there will know that sometimes you go, oh, I'll do that later on, and then you forget everything that happened in the entire time, and then it's the next session, and you go, oh, I didn't do the thing. What about Fix?
Hello, my name is Leah, and I play video games online. We're playing Halo! Yay! Because I love Halo. And also lots of Red Dead Redemption roleplay as well, because we're all very healthily not addicted to it. And everything is fine. Right? Right, Bree? Right? Anyway, yeah, so come find me at twitch.tv/Leah. Yay!
Someone who is not addicted to Red Dead RP is Jesse. Where can people find you, and what are you doing? Still on League?
I'm continuing my League binge, which was prompted by Arcane, but I was already an avid League player before that, so I'm just back into it, I guess. Yeah, you can find me over on twitch.tv/fairlight_excalibur. Currently doing League of Legends, but that may change on a daily basis the second I see some of the game that looks interesting.
Okay. And that is it.
And
Brad.
don't forget to check out Brad.
I am streaming there's a game called Super People or something that came out. That's a BR game. I'm going to play that with my I've got a very close Swedish friend who I love very much. His name is Pony Punch. And me and him are going to play some of that tomorrow. And over the weekend, I'm going to finally be able to play the Final Fantasy VII DLC, the Yuffie stuff. The Yuffie stuffy that I have been waiting all year to play. And it's came out today on the Epic Store. So I'm doing that over the weekend if you want to watch that. Otherwise, we'll see you next week. There's all sorts of shows here on Table Story that you can watch to pass the time. Including more D&D tomorrow night with Rime of the Frost Maiden. And all sorts of other shows. Go and find them. Go to the Discord. Go to the YouTube channel. Go to tablestory.tv. Go and follow all of these wonderful people and give them some money. And thanks for watching. We will see you next time. Peace. Bye.